ESPN.com. Guests today will include Bill King, hour number 3 from Nashville Sports Radio, Alyssa Orange, Pig Trail Nation. In about an hour and 15 minutes, voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, will be on with us for a couple of segments, about 15 minutes from right now. It was a wet one, man. Matt, in fact, not too far away from my house, there is a sinkhole that has opened up. I don't think it swallowed up any cars yet. Used to be the sinkholes would only occur around central Arkansas at the home of the Travelers, where they had sinkholes in the field for a number of years. We had 5 inches of rain that hit around my house since 9 o'clock last night. Floods around the area, thankfully not in my house, but it is very good to see you today. How are you?
Life is good. It's game day, Phil. As you know, yeah. I mean, it rained. It rained a lot here as well. It's kind of cooled it off, so it was perfect. But as you know, Spain and France today at 2:00. You know, I'm excited. Final Four. You get England and Amsterdam. Well, the Netherlands tomorrow, but today Spain and France. I mean, it's Galactico versus Galactico.
Well, I know you got to be pretty fired up about that. I guess 2:00. I'll throw that on as well. I will throw that one on as well. It is game day, and you didn't have anything you could watch yesterday. A few Major League Baseball games, some NBA Summer League, if that's your thing, and no soccer for you yesterday either.
I saw Cooper Flagg. You see this dude going to Duke?
I've read about him.
Man, they say he's 6'9", little swing forward, has guard skills.
Already expected to be the number 1 pick next year. That's right.
One and done Dookie.
Well, he's apparently ready to play against these NBA All-Stars already, all in one team. What is this team that he's playing for? Is it a developmental squad? Is it just like a practice squad that's been thrown together to play against Team USA?
He's the first college guy since Marcus Smart and Doug McDermott in 2013 that got invited to play as far as high school going to college.
He's not even really a college guy yet.
Let me say it better. High school guy going to college. Okay. You know, yeah, he's the first guy that young since Marcus Smart and Doug McDermott to getting to go. But it's what a litmus test. You know, what a way to get in there and see if you belong. I had a coach one time tell me, it was Darren Sorensen. He's a basketball coach up there at Arkansas, and I asked him about a practice. He goes, man, you belong out there. What a better thing to hear somebody tell you than to say, man, you belong out there with the, you know, your football coming over to basketball. You're kind of worried. You're like, man, I hope my skill set's still there. I hope I can play. He's like, oh, don't worry about that. You belong out there. Cooper Flagg belongs out there.
Well, and it's not even just like going up against, you know, like an NBA team. Or an all-star team. This is, you know, legitimately in some ways the best of the best in the entire world that this kid is. Saw he scored against Drew Holiday. He scored over Bam Adebayo. It's You get grown men that have trouble scoring against these guys.
No question. And you know, you're leery every time you see something on the internet. It must mean it's true, right? Everybody just writes stuff and you read it. But this one report, I was reading this Yahoo Sports report as you're getting ready for work and you're going through things. And the reporter said all 12 of the USA Olympic team members are going to be Hall of Famers. I don't know if that's true or not. But he said they all have on pace that all the 12 guys there. Now I know there's half of them. I know half of them will be. I don't know if is Drew Holiday a Hall of Famer? You know, I don't know. He's
racking up NBA titles. He's on a two-year streak at least.
He's an elite defender, but it's yeah. I mean, if you're going defense, but you start looking at the list, like yeah, you know, Steph and LeBron. You know those are Anthony Davis.
Well, let's just say that was my point. Let's just say half of them get into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Then what are you talking about? 6 or 7 of them that Cooper Flagg is he's not schooling, but he's more than holding his own, I guess would be the right way to put it. Well, it's exciting to know that that's coming down the pike. I don't think we'll get to see him against Arkansas, but we'll certainly see him for Duke. He'll be the guy everyone's talking about going into the college basketball season. And when you star against these NBA legends, again, it's like you go up and play against 26 to 32-year-old men. That's one thing. When you're 18 or 17 years old, or however old this young man Cooper Flagg is, you know, you go up against a team of starters in the NBA. That'd be another thing. Guys that are all coached together, that know each other really well as teammates. You go up against a team of all-stars, it's another thing. Now you're talking about going up against a team of Hall of Famers. So it's the next big thing, I guess, is the way to put it. And he's
the,
already a big thing.
Who's the baseball player named Cooper? You got Cooper Kupp, who's an MVP, elite NFL guy. Cooper Flagg, who's coming. I mean, is this hanging with Mr. Cooper? When did Cooper become the name? When did this come to fruition? Where
Gary Cooper was Gary Cooper? He played Lou Gehrig in the Lou Gehrig movie. So I mean, maybe that's part of it.
There
was a AAA stadium in Columbus that was called Cooper Stadium.
That's the name. That's the new hotness going on.
I got a friend who used to be one of our official scorers of the Travelers named Tim Cooper. So I'm sure that Cooperstown, why not? I mean, it's only the first Hall of Fame that I've ever thought of.
You get free admission if your name's Cooper.
It would kind of work that way, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
I don't know if I'll get free admission. By the way, we're going to be in Cooperstown in like a couple of weeks, a little more than a couple of weeks. I don't know if I'd brought it up yet, but I'm going to be doing the show at the National Baseball Hall of Fame the week after induction weekend, which comes up next weekend. But that's kind of that's in a couple of weeks. Yes.
Speaking of baseball, who is this kid that's out there that already has 45 stolen bases and nobody else even has 30?
Cruz.
Have you seen him play? Are you a fan of his?
He's a tall shortstop for Cincinnati. Power speed combination, and it's like the new rules in Major League Baseball have just kind of been built for somebody like that. Yeah, 45 stolen bases. It's not even the All-Star break. I saw he stole a base yesterday when the catcher threw the ball back to the pitcher.
They're just not paying attention. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's different than the rules that have been created to try to reintroduce speed. That's a guy that was timing the catcher's arm going back and knowing he does that again, I'm taking second base.
Cerebral. Very aware. I like players like that can somebody that can snag a bag, somebody who can get a free 3-point shot, somebody who can get a bonus first down, because it's almost like an unforced error the opposite way. It's like they just totally have lack of concentration, and then you take advantage.
It's like a baseline inbound.
When you throw it off their back.
Yeah, the defender turns his back to your guy and he's just like, "What do you do? Do you have an eye in the back of your head?"
That's right.
I've seen him do it before. You
they did
probably pulled it off.
I've done it before in an AAU game. He was not too happy. But you saw it last year in the playoffs where there's like 1.3 seconds left. Drew Holiday, he bounced it off the guy's back to let like 0.6 seconds go. Just let time go off. It was smart, heady play.
I think it was it might have been a regional game or a super regional game last month. I can't remember exactly, but it was a walk-off. You can't call it walk-off if the guy's sprinting to home plate. It was a game-ending home plate steal where the pitcher wasn't paying attention to the runner. It's like a lefty who comes set and just stands there, and the guy's coming home, and he had no idea. Yeah. But 45 stolen bases, you're going to be really creative. You think he's got the wall like Wesley Snipes' character in Major League? Going to hammer those black sliding gloves, black base. Nobody's wearing those gloves anymore either.
Got 100 oven mitts.
Yeah, I was going to say, does he have the 100 oven mitts to put on the wall? Yeah, you realize that oven mitt, like it extends your body an extra. What do you think? I mean, the length of your fingers. I used to be taught, you would hold your batting gloves, or you would hold a handful of dirt when you're base running, because you don't want to break your fingers. So you would slide. If you did slide in head first, which I was always also taught not to do, you would be diving in with your fists. Now you get your hands extended. You're not going to break your fingers. It adds, how long is that finger right there?
Jimmy Johnson said 3 to 4 inches. That's no question about it.
It's an important 3 to 4 inches. That was the finger, by the way, that Bubba Carpenter shows me, incessantly every weekend during college baseball season.
Well, everybody's trying to get an advantage, and I saw it in swimming with the fingernails. You see it in hockey with the goalies. You see how much bigger they are. They have the biggest go look at goalies 20 years ago sitting in between the post. What do they call them, in between the posts? I wonder what they call that in hockey. But they're like the Michelin Man. They just keep growing, and it's like, well, they're not any bigger, but
and they're usually the smallest guys on the ice. Or at least I guess it looks like that. Yeah, it's like the added equipment of some sort helps you in some way to extend your body a little bit. But yeah, maybe they need just to widen the goal a little bit in the NHL, don't they? Wow, we have gone a roundabout in the first 10 minutes of halftime today. guess that happens when it rains as much as it has rained. And I think I lost my connection. Are you guys there?
Hey, yeah, I hear you.
Okay, well, I
got
lost
you.
my Wi-Fi, but I didn't lose my internet to do the show. So here's what we got going on. I think I might have to, work on a couple of things during the commercial break. As I'd mentioned, our show today will include lots of calls and texts on our hotline at 877-377-6963. May have a little issue with the internet at points today. I guess 5 inches of rain around the home studio may do that to you sometimes.
You did change it. You told me yesterday you changed it a little bit. I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's called a wild hair when you've got 4 days and no work. A redesigning of the home studio and the kitchen.
You could get you a plant. You could get you some type of greenery hanging up from the up top on your So yeah.
Matt Jones, interior designer, at the same time as being a co-host on a show. And meanwhile, JT is the first one to text in today, and JT is the only listener in the history of Halftime who's ever sat on that couch right here across from me in the home studio. And was it like, JT, the house looks a little bit different than when it did when you sat here on Wednesday. That's how bored I got. I was so bored I cleaned the bathroom before I went to sleep last night. Yep. So we'll have plenty of sports to hit on because talking season has officially started. It is Big 12 Media Day beginning today at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And I think it's important because Mike Gundy will be speaking at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, our time. I think that is 1 o'clock Pacific time. And that's the first Division I team you're playing, first FBS team you're playing. They'll have Ollie Gordon speaking too, the young running back, best running back in the country for last year, the Doak Walker Award winner. And he's going to be speaking just a few days after he was charged with DUI.
Get it out of the way. Go, absolutely.
So it's getting asked at some point, right?
Go do it. Go meet it head on. You made a mistake, and then you move on, and that's what you have to do, and understand that you're very privileged, and it's not everybody gets to do the job that you get to do.
There's also a couple of quarterbacks that will be speaking today who are older than a guy that may end up being an NFL MVP, maybe this year, who knows. Chuck Barrett, voice of the Razorbacks, joins Halftime in just a moment, so stay with us.
This is Halftime.
We'd like our program to reflect our state, the great state of Arkansas. Loyal, tough, hardworking. One of our goals every year is to make the state of Arkansas proud of the football team. In my office is a sign that says you're not coming to play for the University of Arkansas, you're coming to play for the state of Arkansas.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Dozy Place has now been serving award-winning steaks for over 20 years. Celebrate your special birthday, holiday, person, or just because at Dozy Place. Start with delicious appetizers and your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Dozy Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Reservations are recommended, so call 784-9111. 784-9111 for Dozy Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith.
This Saturday, June 22nd from 2 to 6 p.m., the Fort Smith chapter of Disabled American Veterans is hosting the first annual Veterans Appreciation Fish Fry. Located at 12912 Tuscany Street in Barling, all donations support local veterans. For more information, please visit the Facebook page at facebook.com/Disabled American Veterans 1 Fort Smith. Disabled American Veterans, keeping our promise to America's veterans.
Pay attention. This happens fast. You need money. You get a job. Turns out that job doesn't pay near enough for the nonsense it puts you through every day. You want to move fast, but the clock moves slow. You're smart though. You know machines. You want to work at a place as fast as you. You call Medley Equipment Company. They need a technician, and they'll teach you everything you need to know to be the best, with pay raises all along. Because Medley keeps you moving.
I'm Branch Manager Dennis Mabry. Visit medleycompany.com or see us at 4001 Harper Avenue, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Waiting on someone to bale your hay? Come in to Gray Brothers Equipment and let us show you how affordable only your own Kubota hay equipment can be. Bale your hay when it's ready, not when it's burned up. With economical pricing at Gray Brothers and affordable interest rates from Kubota, this year is the year to bale your own hay. That's Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Poto, where if you pick orange, You'll never get a lemon.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit gopaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Herod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 4th Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Do you want to see the Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas on November 10th? Can you eat a Monster Burger in 150 seconds to qualify for the football trip of a lifetime? It's the 19th annual football trip of a lifetime brought to you by Hardee's, ESPN Arkansas, and hitthatline.com. Go to hitthatline.com for more details and let's secure your seat at the table. Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Do you believe I would take such a day with me and give it to a policeman? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. And if I did that, would you say, sir, I'll come down and put the charge on me? I wouldn't do that. Oh, I wouldn't do that. I'm not a fool to hurt myself, but I was innocent to what they done to me. It were wrong. It were wrong. To me one time. Give it to me, yeah. 2 times. To me 3 times. To me 4 times.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Back on halftime, we'll hit up our hotline and joined by the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, here for a couple of segments. Chuck, always good to talk to you. Good morning on a Tuesday. How you doing?
Well, I'm all right. Hope everybody's okay after all this weather.
Yeah, just trying out a little bit. There's one specific part of near where I live that I think I'm going to try to stay away from because I think my car might fit in a big hole in the street. Other than that, it's okay.
Well, I was looking a few minutes ago. Looks like I guess over in the north central part of the state, that's about what's left. I'll bet we've got some people in Mountain Home right now that are still dealing with a little bit, but it's about over, it sounds like.
Hey, Matt, last segment had brought up Ellie De La Cruz. You know,
Yeah.
Matt, there's one thing I pick up on things that you really do enjoy about athletes. Speed, I think, is top of the list. And when you watch Ellie De La Cruz, speed, length, and for me, it's like I think he could have stolen bases at any era of baseball, but this was the kind of player, Chuck, that the rule changes were just made for. And it's exciting to watch him and, you know, some of these other guys that are stealing bases and kind of reintroducing one of the things that had been forgotten about baseball in most cases in the last 20, 25 years. It's fun to watch this.
Well, it is, and I just like watching him play. He's got a flair. You know, whether it's fielding a routine ground ball, or whether it's running out a fly ball that somebody catches in the outfield. I mean, he just got a flair about him. And, yes, stolen bases are nice. I'll tell you what I like are the triples and the scoring from first base on a hit to the outfield. You watch this guy run from home, you know, from first base scoring on an extra base hit or, you know, maybe a single. He just does it in a different way. He's got a flair about him that very few players have had in a long time.
Chuck, we talked a little bit, Phil and I did, about players you would pay to watch. Do you think this guy, can he get 100 swipes this year, and if he stays healthy, do you think he can get triple digits?
I wouldn't put anything past him. I don't know if the game dictates that right now, because here's the thing about baseball now, and it's one of the reasons that I frankly don't think you see as many stolen bases is, you see those base coaches with those stopwatches. They're timing, how long it takes him to get that ball to the plate. Guys aren't throwing 88, 90, 91 anymore. They're throwing 98, 99, and 100, and that ball gets to the plate more quickly than it once did. And furthermore, every time a guy steals a base, a batter's got to take a pitch. And batters don't like doing that a lot now. So I would not put the odds in his favor, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Another aspect of speed that's fun, and it's something that you just mentioned, is velocity from pitchers. Hagen Smith, his velocity at times would get up to 100 miles an hour, but that's just one aspect of pitching that made him special this last year and throughout his career. And Chuck, man, I mean, you got the draft starting on Sunday in Arlington, and there's a lot of draftniks right now that have Hagen Smith going to the Cardinals. I know a lot of Razorback fans. Probably you would love that. I'd like that, even though I'm not a Cardinals fan. And if it's not them, if they for some reason don't get him, the Royals could too. And I love the idea of Razorbacks that will play part of their career, if not a good chunk of it, and certainly in the minors, because those two teams have affiliates that are close by, either in Arkansas or right near Arkansas. So I'd love for him to go there. It's like anywhere but Oakland, anywhere but Colorado, and probably the White Sox for Hagen Smith.
Well, he's going to be a top 10 pick, probably top 5. He's the best left-handed pitcher in the draft, and so that's a mouthful right there. He's going to start at Double-A. Whoever picks him, I would think he would start at Double-A. And if he's picked, picked by somebody, in the Naturals or the Travelers or the Cardinals League, then I guess they are the Springfield Cardinals. They'll have an opportunity to watch him pitch, but. Hey, wherever he goes, he's going to be fine because he's going to pitch in the big leagues, as long as his health holds up. And I don't care if you're pitching for the first-place team or the last-place team. If you're pitching in the big leagues, you're doing well, and that's something very few get to do.
Matt Jones and Whole Hog today had a piece that said, really, I mean, look, the Cardinals and the Royals, I mean, they very well could be in pennant chase time. I don't even like the term pennant race anymore because you're kind of, in some cases, racing for a wild card spot, playoff chase. There's a chance you could see Hagen pitching in the major leagues this year. Even Dave Van Horn is quoted in this as saying, look, I mean, if the guy can throw it over the plate, he's going to be in the big leagues next year. They could use him. I think it would be, that would be really amazing to see a guy who was pitching at Arkansas in May and June, and then maybe in the big leagues by September. I don't think it's a far-fetched idea.
Depends on, if the team he goes to is in the race and if they need him. And obviously how he pitches. It's not going to be an automatic. I think when you see the success Skeens has had, it makes you realize that it's possible. Generally, it's a pitcher. If you've got someone that goes, pretty close from college directly to the big leagues, it's generally a pitcher. Florida had a guy do it years ago, a middle reliever. I mean, when nobody did it. Florida had a guy do it that nobody ever heard of. But he was a left-handed pitcher, and he was a middle reliever. And they needed him. So I think that's got a lot to do with it. Here's the thing. There's no need to rush all this. And it would be great if he could make it to the big leagues this year. That'd be awesome. Now, I wouldn't rule it out either. But the main thing that you want is for his professional career to get off to a good start, wherever he goes. And if that means pitching in the big leagues this year, great. But if it means doing like what Paul Skeens did, going to the minor leagues and maybe being called up in May, there have been some good ones. Some guys, you guys remember Mark the Bird Fidrich. I mean, he was called up in May. I mean, Skeens is a call-up, and he's starting the All-Star game. So there's nothing wrong with spending this summer in the minor leagues if that's how it works out.
Well, he's not going to be the number 1 overall pick, and the We've seen number 2 picks at Arkansas, both in the NFL and Major League Baseball. Kerstad, of course, in 2020. D-Mac went 2nd overall. Then the only Razorback ever to be picked first in a draft is Jeff King. Happened in '85 by Pittsburgh, 3rd baseman. What do you remember about I don't know if there was any buildup to it or anything, but the reaction about that, was that something that was expected?
I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't even discussed, except among a few people that follow the baseball program. It was never discussed. It was only after it happened that anybody even knew who Jeff King was. And I don't mean that against Jeff King. That's just the truth. I mean, I was in my I guess I was 22. I was in my early 20s when that happened. I was as avid a Razorback fan as there was. I didn't know who Jeff King was. That's just the way it was back then. It's hard to imagine now, but no, there was no build-up. There was no discussion. Now, there was among baseball people. There was among the people around the program. I'm not saying that. But you got to consider and you got to remember that back then, a big crowd for a baseball game was 1,000 people. A big crowd. Most of the time it was well under that. So it was just a different era.
Much different era. And a different kind of a, Hagen's quiet. I wouldn't say that he's shy necessarily. But, you hear stories about Jeff King as a, really great person and a good teammate and everything, but just wasn't real comfortable in his own skin out in front in crowds and everything. I mean, the guy, you might know this story, Chuck. I think he retired the day after he became fully vested in the Major League pension. He didn't like playing baseball very much. It was a job for him, and it just didn't quite have that kind of personality that drew you in. It was fun to watch, but not necessarily you'd connect with him.
Well, I think there are probably more players in professional sports like that than we realize, and in fact, I would go so far as to say most players in professional sports, those outnumber the ones that aren't that way. Matt can speak to this better than anyone, but it is a job, and it is a means to an end, and it's the way you make your living and your body, whichever the sport. The things you put your body through just to be able to play. I got to be honest with you. If I was in that spot and I was eligible for my pension, I might be thinking about it too. Here's the thing. Jeff King may not have been a superstar, but Jeff King played in the big leagues for over 10 years. It's not like this guy was chopped liver. Sometimes we think if a guy's a number 1 pick, and we expect him now in the era where every draft is covered like a ball game. We expect the players, the top picks, to be great. Greatest quarterback to ever play the game was not a first-round pick. And the greatest quarterback to play the game before him was not a first-round pick. And it's that way in baseball, too. It's that way in all the sports. I think too much is made of the draft. There's going to be guys taken in the top 10 that never sniff the big leagues. There are. There are going to be guys in that top 10 that don't make it to the big leagues. And they're going to make some money, and their dreams are going to die. And that's how it works. So I pull for Hagen Smith. I pull for all these guys. But it's a whole different world now. And I think he's equipped to handle it. He's young. That concerns me a little bit. He's younger than some of the people in his class. But in terms of ability, he's got plenty.
Chuck's with us for another segment. We can open up our hotline for calls, certainly your texts as well, 877-377-6963 to get with us on Halftime. We'll be back in just a couple of moments.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMSS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
If you are involved in a divorce or custody case, you want an attorney you can trust to guide you through the process. The attorneys at Hickey and Hole Law Partners have over 7 decades of combined experience. Hickey and Hole have seen and heard nearly every scenario you can imagine, ready to put that experience to work for you to get the best results. Visit KevinHickeyLaw.com or give them a call today, 479-434-2414. Hickey and Hole Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Whether it's torque, horsepower, or just extreme work, diesel trucks do their job. But when your diesel truck needs maintenance or repair, it's time to head to Extreme Diesel. Everything from standard maintenance to extreme repairs, including injector testing. Extreme Diesel delivers. They have the tools and service for your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. You trust your truck to deliver on your needs, and you can trust your truck at Extreme Diesel, 6630 Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma. Check them out on Facebook or give them a call at 651-3363. They're bilingual, now offering CP4 solutions for both Chevy and Ford.
Have you tried the TGI Friday weekday deals? On Monday, they have 50-cent wings, traditional or boneless, 10-piece minimum. Tuesday, cheeseburgers and fries with a fountain drink for $10. On Wednesday, Cajun shrimp and chicken pasta for only $12. On Thursday, enjoy a half a rack of ribs for only $12. Stop by and check out the weekday deals at TGI Fridays, I-540 at Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. In here, it's always Friday.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
At Shelter Insurance, we believe insurance should adjust to fit your needs. That's why we work with you to design an auto, home, and life insurance plan that's particular to you. Insurance that fits just right. And Shelter is known for our award-winning customer service, satisfied customers, and a plan for you. Ready to check us out? Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
See Agent Randy Milam in Alma or Agent Brandon Zimmerman in Barling.
Walk-Ons is always a win, whether it's for a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner. Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into their mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
One for the music and one for the road. Got the beat to the rhythm, take it back to the show. Show your love for the people when they come, when they go. Meet your next generation and the next episode. Call me on the telephone, ask me if I know. Yes, the sky is running high, and the earth's empty, so let's compromise, so fly, compromise, just restore the stack.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We got the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, with us here for another segment. But first, Matt, was that Sublime? Was that like something new from Sublime?
That was saw that last night on Fallon. And Phil, you the funny thing is, everybody that says AI, you say AI. I think Allen Iverson. Every time anybody says AI, it's like, well, where's
Iguodala?
Yeah, where's Iggy? Where's Allen Iverson? But it sounded like that could have been on their album 30 years ago. Like you turn if you turn Beck on, if you turn the radio on and Beck comes on, you're like, that's Beck. You just know it's Beck. Same thing with Sublime. You're like, yeah, Smashing Pumpkins. You hear them, Pearl Jam. You're like, yep, that's Pearl
Unmistakable sound.
Right.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Chuck Berry's got an unmistakable sound too. You know it when you hear it.
You guys are too cool for me, man. Way too hip.
I'm just trying to make segues. That's all I'm trying to do. Hey, the talking season starts today. Got the Big 12 Media Days. And I'm interested in this for a couple of reasons. They have maybe the two oldest quarterbacks in college football that will be speaking today. Alan Bowman, who we'll see from Oklahoma State, is 24. Cam Rising, the Utah quarterback, he's getting another year. He's 25. There are 3 starting quarterbacks in the NFL younger than these two guys. You'll hear from KJ Jefferson tomorrow along with Gus Malzahn. So, and then there's Dion and his crew tomorrow as well. So it's, I don't know. I'm interested to hear from Mike Gundy because if I look at the schedule, Chuck, I know there's a lot of games that everybody can point to that the importance level, but right now I don't see anything more important than playing Oklahoma State and thinking, you know what, that's a program you wouldn't mind emulating with the stability and amount of wins under Mike Gundy over 19 years.
Well, I think they're among the favorites in the Big 12 this year. I would put them right up there with anyone. Now, I will say this: if Cam Rising's healthy and has a good year, Utah's team to beat in my mind. I thought they were in the playoff hunt until his injury. But at any rate, that's a good league, better than people think. I was listening to I guess it was Pat Jones this morning, was on the Morning Rush. He was talking about how, if the Big 12 could sneak one of those teams into the playoff, maybe past the first round, get a decent run, how big that would be for that conference. Look, they've lost Oklahoma and Texas, and that's huge. You can't sit here and say that they're going to be just as good without them. They may be just as competitive. I will say that. And, somebody's going to the playoff out of that league. Maybe a couple of teams are going to the playoff out of that league. So I think Oklahoma State's going to be among the better teams in that conference.
I know Utah plays defense in that league, so that's going to help them out a little bit. Chuck, I was looking at these rankings, and there's eight SEC teams in the top 25, 8 teams not in the top 25. But there's 6 of them right there in the top 12. What is realistic? So when the playoff 12 came out, Chuck, I in my mind I thought SEC is going to get 3 teams. That's realistically every year they'll probably get 3 teams. Do you think there's a way that the SEC gets 5 teams in the playoff 12?
Is it possible for that to happen? I haven't looked at it. I'm going to plead guilty. Given the automatics and things like that, I don't know how many mathematically it would be possible to have.
I don't know if it could.
I think 3 is 100%. I think you're going to get 3.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. I would think you would have 3 teams in there every year. One of the things that's going to be interesting to see on this is how the games are when we get to the playoffs. Do you have a 60-0 game? Do you have in one of those first round games something that just turns into a total debacle? That's possible because this is not basketball, and Goliath doesn't lose to David very often in football. That just doesn't happen, and so I'll be anxious to see when we get there what some of the scores are like and how competitive the games are until we get to the Final Four.
Let's see. So you get the top 4 conference champions get the bye. And then there's a group of 5 champion that gets in. That's 5 automatics right there.
All right. So you got 7 left.
And I guess, Notre Dame, if they're within a certain ranking.
They get 10 wins, I think
down
Notre Dame's
6.
in. They got to get to 10, yeah.
So then you're talking about 6 at-larges. Maybe it could happen. I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about 6, then you're looking at a bunch of bad seasons from other teams.
Well, I can't see the Big Ten not getting 3 in either.
Right.
I'm inclined to think that pretty much every year the SEC and the Big Ten will be close. And maybe the SEC will get 1 more some years, and maybe the Big Ten will get 1 more some other years. I'm going to be interested to see if the 12-team playoff closes the gap in terms of national championships between the SEC and the Big Ten, because getting a team to the playoff and winning the national title are two different things, as we've seen. So that part's got to play out too. Michigan's not going to be as good this year. It doesn't sound like. Ohio State is. Who's the second best team in the Big Ten this
Penn
year?
State.
I don't know.
Feels like this is Penn State's chance to
I
get
think
into
it's
that
Is it Oregon?
conversation.
What about Oregon?
I forgot
They're in the
about
Big Ten now.
I forgot about Oregon.
I mean, who's the second best team in the Big Ten this year? What about USC? I don't know, but I tend to believe yes, 3 will be the norm. I would think that would be the norm from the SEC.
You ever sit there and try to think to yourself when you're reading about this, like, all right, can I name all the teams that are now in the Big 12?
Right? You have to. If I look at a sheet, but it's like you can't. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot they're coming over.
Chuck, you got a league with the wrong number. I know this happens all over the place, and we joke about it all the time. But it's just think of the movement over even just the last 2 years. Like the SEC has 2 teams coming in. The ACC has 3 teams coming in. The Big Ten, they've got 4 teams coming in. The Big 12 over the last 2 years, there's been, I think, like 7 or 8 changes. I don't know what the Big. I mean, I know what the Big 12 looks like, but you got to put it on paper.
I'll give the Big 12 credit. I think of the surviving leagues. By surviving leagues, I mean non-SEC, non-Big Ten. They've got the best chance to make it. I think they were proactive in the schools that they went after. Yes, it's misnamed, just like the Big Ten is, just like the SEC is, Columbia, Missouri. So we're all misnamed, and that's just one of the casualties of the new realignment. But I actually think the Big 12's positioned pretty well. I don't think they're on the level of the SEC and the Big Ten, but I think among the leagues that are left, they're in the best position to survive.
Well, you also don't have, and I guess it's different in basketball, and maybe it's not so different in baseball because of Texas leaving that league right now, and Oklahoma too, because they've been good in those leagues. There's no, when you talk about the SEC in football, who you're talking about? You're talking about Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas now too, unfortunately. You talk about the Big Ten, the schools you'd already mentioned. They're always the ones that come up. In the Big 12, there is no supposed, this is the blue blood, or there are this set of blue bloods. It really does feel like, it's a league that's up for grabs, very much so, like in a lot of different sports.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm going to be interested to see, number one, does it stay intact the way it is now? Are we headed for something beyond, what they are at this point? But I think there are programs within that league that can do well. I think Central Florida, for example, I think that's a sleeping giant. Give them a little money in that city. I think they could do some damage, and I think they will do some damage. But again, they've lost Oklahoma and Texas, and that's going to affect everything. We all focus on football, but it is going to affect everything. Oklahoma and Texas were good in a lot of sports, and so they're bringing all that to their new league now, and it just got tougher for everybody.
How you bring up Central Florida, Chuck? How much do you think because I'll kind of have my eye on South Carolina with Rocket. I'll have my eye on Ole Miss with Pooh Paul, but I'll definitely have my eye on Central Florida to see how they do this year with KJ. Will you kind of have an eye on there, kind of, because I'm rooting for them, or will you kind of be looking at them and seeing how they go about it?
I'll keep up probably. I probably won't delve into it real deeply, but I'll keep up. And just for the record, I think KJ will excel in the Big 12. Those linebackers you got to run over in the Big 12 look a whole lot different than those linebackers you got to run over in the SEC. And those defensive linemen in that league, they're not the monsters that they are in the Southeastern Conference. I'm not saying they're not good football players. They are. And there's plenty of speed in the Big 12. But he's going to truck some guys when he runs the ball. And I would expect KJ to have a great year, and I think UCF might win 10 games.
It's a little easier to throw when you're not on your back, Phil.
That's true.
Well, not just that. I mean, Matt, You know this. I mean, look, you could take the perfect angle. Guys thought they had the angle on you, and you were gone. I mean, it was incredible to watch. KJ's one of these guys that, I mean, if there's a safety or a linebacker in front of him, he's looking to make contact.
He's a heat seeker.
He's not looking to out-angle him. He's looking to truck him. And he can do that in that league a lot more than he could do it in the SEC.
It's funny, you think about the two quarterbacks in Arkansas history that are known for their legs, amongst other things too, but have the rushing records. The two guys went at it a completely different way, Chuck.
Hey, let me tell you this about Matt Jones. And Matt, you know this. Matt could slow play that defender better than anybody. He toyed with these guys. He'd slow play. I mean, he'd run that option. He'd slow play him a little bit, and then he'd hit that gear, and they all thought they had the angle. And by the time they figured out they didn't, it was too late. And Grovey could do that. He could slow play him on that that option. But you were really good at that, Matt.
Well,
Yes,
I got lucky. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, no, you didn't get lucky. I'm not trying to make your face turn red. I'm just saying that some of these guys, it's not just about the speed, and it's not just about the ability to run somebody over. There's a craftiness involved in playing that position.
So when you're doing a fake on a 26 and you hand the ball to Cedric Cobbs and you're faking out, you don't go out necessarily 1,000% like who was the backup quarterback we had. You go out at 50 because then that DN gets used to 50, and then when you call the fake like on 4th and 1 against Texas and they all go down, then all of a sudden it's 60. I mean, there's a little bit of craftsmanship to it. You're right.
Hornsby was that way, and Hornsby was a great athlete. I loved watching him play, but he'd run that option at 1,000 miles an hour, and sometimes you got to have a little bit of got to have some game there. Matt Jones had it now.
Hey,
I don't want to talk too much. I'll reveal how stupid I am because I've never been one who's run the hump and slow played a linebacker or a defensive back, but those guys sure could do it.
Well, we can finish where we started, Chuck, with an idea on base stealing. I think just talking about what you're talking about here with Matt and the speed, he would have been a pretty special base stealer too.
Yeah, he'd have been pretty good. You and me wouldn't have even drawn a throw. But
no, I'd have fun.
A pitcher's nightmare.
I'd have fun describing Matt Jones diving headfirst into second base.
Matt had taken 3 steps and he'd have been there.
Chuck, appreciate you, man. Have a great rest of the week.
Guys, thank you.
Thanks for being with us on Tuesdays. Here on Halftime. Remember Crabtree RV Center, making plans for the family for big adventures for this summer or any other summer. There is an RV on the lot at Crabtree RV Center that fits your family needs. You can give them a visit at the junction of I-40 and I-49 right beside the Cracker Barrel in Alma, or go online to crabtreerv.com. We'll be back to wrap up hour number 1 right after this.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
This is Halftime.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, Sakhalin.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Conneray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you. Are you ready to give your family the best 4th of July experience yet? USA Fireworks wants to make that happen with the USA Fireworks Bangin' Giveaway. USA Fireworks has helped Arkansans more than 30 years. Go to hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks and enter for your chance to win a fireworks show worth $2,000 retail. Again, hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks. For more information about wholesale prices, go to usafireworks.org.
This video is
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
You know, we got knocked off the air yesterday during right about now. It was, I mean, it was as Christian Johnston was about to detail to us what he thought was the funniest moment of Young Frankenstein, which was one of the 2 Mel Brooks movies that he watched over the weekend. I know you weren't a big fan of Spaceballs, and I think I get reasons why for that. It might not hold up as well. Young Frankenstein does, and so nobody ever heard what it was that you thought about the movie. I guess we got about a minute and a half to hit on it here.
Putting on the Ritz.
Very good. You know, you're supposed to stomp your feet like Peter Boyle, like the monster, and then shout it like,
That couldn't have been more funny, man. That was hilarious.
I think Spaceballs has a cult following. I know some people that absolutely love that movie. You know, I think it's probably a little cultish, kind of like Spinal Tap. You know, like I'm totally into Spinal Tap.
It's just interesting that that's the one that they've chosen to make a sequel off of. I guess because there have been however many versions of Star Wars movies. Mm-hmm. But I mean, think of all the different monster movies there have been. There have been 5 or 6 different versions of Frankenstein, and this one came in, what year was it, 1974? So it's not like I guess you can't have a sequel because the monster's dead. But yeah, what'd you think of Terry Garr? She's my she's my girlfriend from before I was born.
Yeah, I did have a movie crush.
Now we got to get you to see Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Which was another one that she was in. All right, that's good. That's good. So, Young Frankenstein hit, Blazing Saddles hit, but Spaceballs did not. We'll figure something out for the next weekend.
They got Scarlett Johansson. She was out last night promoting "Fly Me to the Moon." So that might be kind of interesting.
Yeah, what is this supposed to be
She's
an alternate moon mission in case the real one didn't work out?
Right, she's like a Mad Men agent. If you remember Don Draper from Mad Men, she's coming in to kind of make it acceptable to ease the tension, to ease the America into it.
I've watched a very light movie last night called Born on the 4th of July. Just light comedy before going to bed. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts as we get into our second hour and back right after this.
Are you tired of processed meat and flimsy sandwiches? Subchain's gotten to your last nerve? Then I have the place for you. Come see my buddy Josefa at Lily's Sandwich Shop in the Bakery District in downtown Fort Smith. Locally sourced meat sliced daily and fresh breads from Harvest Moon Bakery. Daily specials announced on Facebook, including the Poke Bowl every Friday and Saturday. For to-go orders, call 479-567-3403.
My name is Lily. My Baba makes the best sandwiches at Lily's Sandwich Shop. Come by and see him at the Bakery District today.
Summer camp, vacation, travel baseball, repeat. Family reunion, lake time, I'm beat. A parent in the summertime is a glorified chauffeur, but if you find yourself in a fender bender, you'll need a good lawyer. I'm Jackie Mock. With 12 years of experience in insurance and car wreck cases, I can help get you back on the road for more summer fun. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Now we will share a lifetime of the fondest memories.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
Looking for a new piece of heavy equipment? Come on over to Sharp Equipment today and explore our latest offers and deals as a Wacker Newson dealer and a Cinnabogan authorized service provider. From excavators with the best-in-class breakout force to powerful skid steers, we'll be sure to find the right equipment for you. Stop in Central Hydraulics and see us at Sharp Equipment, located at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or give us a call at 479-242-1406.
The best Tex-Mex and even better service is at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Every Friday is Fajita Friday, featuring their charbroiled steak and chicken. It's tender, full of flavor, and comes with all the fixings. Saturdays are for endless enchiladas with Joe's homemade enchilada sauce and all the beef, chicken, or cheese enchiladas you can eat. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, the moisture from Barrow will continue to push through today, so occasional showers and thunderstorms. Could see some heavy rain at times, a couple of inches of rain possible for today. Tonight, we will start to clear out, overnight lows in the low to mid-60s, and sunny skies on Wednesday, a high water on the middle 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grant Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 51 days.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect it. If I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Well,
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
But they even one Razorback.
And vintage Matt Jones.
1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
We welcome you back at 1 minute after 12 noon on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Halftime continues into our second hour. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston at the controls, and we'll be visited by Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in about 15 minutes. Our highly esteemed Olympic correspondent. You think we can officially call her that?
Absolutely. How cool is that? I try not to fan out too much when I'm talking to her and try to have a regular conversation, ask her because it's so exciting. How cool is that to go over there to the Olympics and America's going to crush it? Like it's not like you're going to cover a group of guys or women that are going to win one medal. I mean, they got a chance to win the whole thing. So it's pretty cool.
Well, it also means, we've obviously reached pretty high levels of respect here on Halftime if we have our own correspondent for the Olympics. Now, I don't even know. We probably won't be able to talk to Alyssa when she's over there. What's the time
6 hours. That's the soccer. It's, if I remember right, we're about 6-7 hours different, country by country, but around 6 hours, 7 hours.
It doesn't ruin your day to try to plan to watch
be 8 o'clock in the evening
taking place there, so
at
you
2
can't
o'clock
plan
here.
a radio show
Yeah.
around that. But I'm sure it'll be just fine. But looking forward to talking to her in just a little bit. I saw this interview that Kalen DeBoer, the new Alabama head football coach, did with Blake Topmeyer on the USA Today network, in which he was asked if he does not cuss. There was like 10 questions they asked him about, anywhere from feeling the influence of Nick Saban to what do you think of Jalen Milroe, what was it like growing up in a town of 3,000, and do you curse? He says it's not necessarily a thing he makes a rule about. It's just not really something that he has to do very often. He said, not the kind of thing that it's, quote, never happened. It's just infrequent. I've been around some people that say, I don't trust somebody if they don't curse. I don't know if I go in that far.
You don't
that
trust somebody
extreme.
if they won't have a beer. I'll go that far. If somebody
One or the other.
Yeah, curse words so subjective.
And it can be a non-alcoholic beer too, okay?
Yeah, not a big curse. Coach Nutt wasn't a big curse guy, and getting recruited, Phil, it's funny you bring this up because when I was getting recruited, and nobody in my family big curse guys. If coaches, when you were talking to them, if they were cursing over the phone, I would X them off my list. It's like I'm not going to that school. Absolutely.
What do you feel? It might be treated like that,
I'm not. You can't MF me. Like how
Right.
like with if you're gonna. That's not a coaching style. That's not a respect coaching. I'm not into coaches that do that at all.
He says it wasn't part of the way we talked as a family, and it just kind of carried on throughout all the years. It's nothing he really thinks about very much. He just tries to be, quote, first class in everything I do, unquote. Now, look, I haven't been around any practices for Alabama football, but there's just something that tells me that when Nick Saban needed to drop an F-bomb, he might have dropped an F-bomb. And I still enjoy, and I'm not saying this with any, value judgments on Kalen DeBoer, just watching what he says. This is just how he grew up. This is the way he speaks. And who is anybody to criticize a coach that's got a winning percentage that he's got? But it's, what I really do enjoy? I saw another clip. This was like a 3-minute clip of Augie Garrido, the legendary Texas baseball coach. He was talking to his team after a loss. I think it was early in the season, out on the West Coast, and over 2 minutes, I'm not kidding. There were like 15, 20 F-bombs that were thrown in there. And I'm thinking to myself, now that's the kind of baseball guy that I was used to being around. Those are the kind of baseball guys that I'd been around for just a little bit of time to realize that if they're not making fun of you, they don't like you. If they're not cursing at you, it's probably the same thing. They don't like you very much.
That's another coaching thing. Pops being a coach, he'd say when the coach stops talking to you, that's when it's time to worry. If he's MFing you or getting on you, that's okay. But whenever he stops talking to you, playing time's done.
And I grew up a little differently because I found George Carlin at the age of 8. So it's not like that was all thrown around the house a little bit, but we all grow up in different in different situations and different climates for certain kind of language. It's just throwing it in at the right time. Now, I did have a manager with the Travelers, and I don't want to put his name out there because he still works in professional baseball. He was very religious, didn't drink, never cursed, but I would also think to myself, when you say frick, we know what you mean, right? It's just a word. The thought behind the word a lot of times is what counts. And he would march around the clubhouse when the team's on a lengthy losing streak, and he would throw frick this, fricking that, everything that was. And I'm thinking to myself, I grew up by a park that was called Frick Park in Pittsburgh. It's a different situation, different kind of meaning. But we know what you mean when you say that. And I thought he had trouble connecting with the players on that team. They didn't feel he was necessarily very genuine, I guess.
Authentic. Yeah.
Yes. That was the way they looked at it.
That's pretty deep right there, Phil. But you're very true. It's all about your heart and it's all about your intent when it comes to a curse word. Any word can be a curse word if that's the way it's said and that's how it's derogatory, that's how it's meant. That's you're a little too deep for me this summer day.
There's no games to talk about.
But you're right on. The GD. That's using the Lord's name in vain is a cuss word. That's and especially if you're a Christian or whatever. But it's that's to me that's a cuss word.
I worked for a man at the Travelers, Bill Valentine, who the GD.
That's just
he might have said
like
that more than any other words in his entire
Yeah.
vocabulary. He turned cursing into an art form. I mean, you could have taken his words, just have him speak into a jar, bottle them up, and put that on a wall in the Louvre. Okay, because that was that artistic. It was that entertaining to listen to. And every once in a while, he would be cursing over the telephone to an automated system. You're like, we've gotten to that point of the day, haven't we? Let's take a phone call from Charlie here. Speaking of people that you never know what they're going to say, Charlie is with us here. Hi, Charlie. How are you today?
I'm awesome. Matt, I am with you about the GD word. And it's crazy because being someone that is such, I do believe big time, and I'm big in that, and I use that, as a part of my life. But I catch myself, man, I actually feel terrible if I let that slip. That makes me feel worse saying that than saying another word, like the F word even. Like when you drop the Lord's name in vain with a cuss word, man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. That makes me feel worse than it just puts the tune all the way down.
Now, let's remember where we are here, too, on public airwaves where, you can drop an F-bomb into certain conversations and get yourself fired. This is one of the only situations where you might be on the hook for $250,000. So we got to be careful.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And I'm bad. You know what, Matt? I had a coach one time, the thing with me, if you're going to cuss me out, there was something, if you're going to tell me, get your stuff together, just say the S, throw, what, in there, or heck, we know what you meant. You meant HELL. I was cool with those, but you're right, man. The F words and the, one time there was a situation, there was a game we were playing, and he called a play where we faked the screen, and I was supposed to throw the wheel route, and he told me to just lob it and throw it out there. Well, and that's what he told me to do. He didn't tell me nothing else. So I do that, and I throw an interception. Guess what they were in? Cover 2. I throw a stupid lob pass out there against cover 2, and as I'm coming to the sideline, he's cussing me. Now, here's the deal. You just told me what to do, and you're cussing me for doing what you just told me. That was my only incompletion that game. It was like 12 for 13. I was so pissed, and even the head coach, so I had to go tell him, dude, do you know what he just told me to do? That gets me. If you're going to cuss me, come on now. Cuss me and know what you're talking about, too. You know what I mean? Phil, if you wanted to cuss the tuna out and you did it in the right way, I would respect it, listen to it wholeheartedly. We'll
just have to set up a phone call for maybe in a couple hours, Charlie, after you have self-scouted today's phone call on the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast, and I'll come at you with some notes. But I'm also not one of these. Look, I should not be anybody's coach, okay? I figured that out at about the age of 19. You do not want me as a coach. But for you, I'll make an exception, and I'll be very gentle.
I'm with you. Hey, Matt, did you see Cooper Flagg against the USA team?
I did. I saw. I didn't watch. Yes, I just saw snippets, so I didn't actually sit down and watch 8 minutes straight. But, yeah, he looks like he belongs.
It's crazy. I love to watch those kids when they go against, players like LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and they look like they belong. Like you said, and there's no fear.
That's just crazy. Think about this, Charlie. This does not happen in football. There is no 18-year-old.
2013, the last time Marcus Smart and Doug McDermott.
But I mean, look in football. There's no 18-year-old that's going to go play in a game against
Pittsburgh.
Against T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett on the same defense. Okay, that's the equivalent of what Cooper Flagg has done. In this game from yesterday. You're not going to find any 18-year-old that's going up to hit against Shohei Ohtani or against Max Scherzer. It's just this feels like a unique situation.
Yeah, I ain't even trying. I wouldn't even put myself in that situation. Also, Ricky Council, I was watching him. I think he's made a slight adjustment when he shoots the three, Matt. I know you probably know what I'm talking about. When in college he kind of shot a knuckleball from out there. I think he's moved his guide hand to where it needs to be. Doesn't look like he puts as much pressure on it. He's got more rotation on it. He's getting better, man. He may be able to last in the NBA. I'm rooting for him. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Charlie.
Absolutely. He was always athletic enough. He's a little undersized. He had that little thumb push with his jump shot. And so if he's getting that better, man, I hope he figures it out too. And in a league where they don't play defense, this is summer league. It's just pickup ball. He's going to look good. He is. Phil, speaking of youngsters, I'm not even saying his name right. Yamal, maybe I got his number 27. He's going to play for Spain here in a little bit. He was born in 2007.
Oh my gosh.
He's starting in a semifinal in the Euros for Spain of all people. 17 years old.
And there's a 16-year-old that's also going to be running track.
Endrick is these one-name Brazilians, so that's when you got to know that we're in trouble. Endrick, they got a high schooler that plays for Brazil. He's already signed with Real Madrid. Once he turns 18, he's going to Yamis with Barcelona. That's what I mean. That's going to Alabama and Georgia. Like going to Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Is it always a soft J?
Well, it's a Y this time, but I've told you it's and that's his last name. It's Lamine, Lamine. Yamal.
Yamal can fit. I thought maybe you were pronouncing Jamal with the YJ.
Yamal Crawford.
Right. Yamal Murray. Exactly. Always going to be a soft J here on Halftime. All right, quick break here on Halftime, joined by Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in just a moment.
This is Halftime.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
What's new at Wheeler Power Sports? Short answer, a lot. All new Kawasaki Ninja 500, Z500, Eliminators, and Mule Pro Diesels. New Kawasaki Ridge side-by-side is now arriving. New Polaris Expeditions and Ranger XD 1500s. New Suzuki GSX 8R. New 2024 model Polaris Slingshots, including the Roush Edition, are now in stock. Check us out online at WheelerPowersports.com or stop by and see us at downtown Fort Smith at 901 North 11th Street. Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family, from general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Davis, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Now offering same-day crowns. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
If you've been affected by the recent storms, Crabtree RV Center is here to help. Whether you need to rent or purchase an RV while your home is under repair, or you need repairs done to an existing RV, whatever your needs are, Crabtree RV is here for our Northwest Arkansas community. If you've been affected by the recent storms, Crabtree RV Center is here to help. Whether you need to rent or purchase an RV while your home is under repair, or you need repairs done to an existing RV, whatever your needs are, Crabtree RV is here for our Northwest Arkansas community.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
This summer at Hardee's, the BLT gets an upgrade.
with the new Frisco BLT Angus Burger and Frisco BLT Hand-Breaded Chicken Sandwich. The classic flavors of bacon, lettuce, and tomato, atop a famous charbroiled burger or signature hand-breaded chicken sandwich, all between 2 thick slices of toasted sourdough. Only for a limited time at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. Order ahead on the Hardee's app. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply by time of day.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Hi, everybody. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center with the exciting news. Backed by popular demand, state sales tax paid when you trade on our huge inventory of road-ready certified vehicles. That's right. This month, get the best used car your money can buy, road-ready certified with warranty, and get your state sales tax paid when you trade. One more reason all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Well, I knocked to a window to leave her a note. Will you come meet me at the back of the grove? All the trees were in bloom. That's the smell in the air. We were trembling together. We were young, we were scared, yeah. True love, hard to find. I can feel it, yeah. Blossom there and there.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Heading over to the hotline, we have Alyssa Orange with us from Pig Trail Nation. Unable to visit with us last week because she was on a fun little excursion with the family. Alyssa, what'd you do last week? Sounded like fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Picked up my dad from the airport, flew in from Virginia, and we went straight out to Jasper, which I've never been out there, and it's beautiful. But we got a cabin. I told Paul, I said, I just want to rent a cabin with a view. So that's what we did, and then we floated a little bit of the buffalo the next day, and then came home for some fireworks. So it was really nice, little getaway.
Nice little getaway, and then I saw you and Courtney and John Williams at Rick and Dee's. Was it was it a 20th anniversary? 30th? Well, how many
25th wedding anniversary vow renewal, and that was really fun. Yeah, so they kind of did just a party vow renewal. Get together in Fort Smith and invited us all down and asked John to kind of officiate the whole thing. And I was like, well, we're going to Fort Smith, and so I don't want to go to this party and then have to drive all the way back to Fayetteville that night. So let's look for Airbnbs to stay at. And then, of course, I'm like, well, if we're going to stay in Fort Smith too, like, just make it fun. And I found an Airbnb that was vampire themed, and it was awesome. It was so fun. I mean, like, the attention to detail, because if you're going to do something like that, you really can't, just do it halfway. You have to go all the way. And so the attention to detail was amazing. There was a coffin in our bedroom, which was kind of funny, but I tell you what, it was really cool to just kind of, you know what? Why not? We're in Fort Smith. Might as well book the vampire Airbnb, which is next door to the pirate Airbnb as well.
Please tell me that there was Count Chocula cereal there. There has to be. I
didn't look for cereal. I'm sorry. They had
really going to be vampire themed. You You got to have the vampire cereal, too. It's just how it
I
works.
know. I'm sure they do, but I tell you what, it was awesome. The lights flickered from time to time. It was pretty great.
It's odd. You got it. So, I mean, travel is like the theme for the month for you, right? I mean, are you headed to SEC Media Days next week? And then when do you go to Paris?
So I think if I'd have come home and told Saul, hey, by the way, the week before I leave you for 3.5 weeks, I'm going to actually go to Dallas. I might not be married if I'd have done that. So Courtney and Evan and Jacob are headed down there to SEC Media Days in Dallas, and I'm going to hold down the fort back in Fayetteville and just help with whatever they need. And they're going to be there for the whole week. We haven't gone for the whole week, I don't think, since I went when Brett Bielema was hired, my first year here. But Texas, you are joining the league. It's going to be a big week, a lot to talk about, especially even more coaching changes. So I'm excited for those guys to kind of experience that on their own in Dallas and bring some pretty good content. So it should be fun.
Is there any hope? Are they going down there hopeful to for this Razorback team? If you can find out anything, or are you kind of going down to find out about Oklahoma and Texas and some of the other SEC teams? Is there a feeling that this team has a chance to get it back on the track and going back to a bowl game at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think that's what we'd love to see. I think the big thing, too, a couple things, and I'm sure Mike Irwin touched about this because he's got all his SEC Media Day theories, but this is going to be an important year for Sam Pittman, and everybody knows that. So you're bringing with you a guy in Landon Jackson who went last season, Taylon Green, who is the quarterback everyone wants to talk about. And you're bringing those guys to SEC Media Days and, hopefully sending a message that last year is not indicative of what this team can be or what they want to be or what they are going to be, and things are turning around. But this is going to be a big one for Sam Pittman because, he is on the hot seat. And with Texas NOU joining the league, and you're playing Texas this year, what can Arkansas do to set themselves apart and have some success? So I think that's kind of the message that Arkansas is trying to send is, hey, now wait a minute, don't just count us out automatically, especially with two new teams coming in. But I think the spotlight is with Texas and OU. They will be the SEC media darlings. It's in Dallas for a reason so that OU media and fans can come up, as can Texas fans from Austin. So how do you set yourself apart when everyone's focused on the two newcomers? And I'm curious to see how Arkansas kind of tries to do that.
I'm excited to listen to Taylon Green speak for the first time. Everything that we've read about him and, from teammates that were talking about what he was like in the locker room leading up to spring practice, then during spring practice, and what he's been like just generally kind of treating all of his teammates the same and going around the whole locker room. It just from what you're reading, this is the kind of kid I want to see what he's like up in front of the cameras and in front of those bright lights. Not like that has anything to do with how he's going to play on Saturdays, but if he's going to be the leader of this team, then I'm excited to hear, how he speaks and what he's got to say.
I think you're absolutely right, Phil. I think at the end of the day, you got to win people over, right? And that's what you walk away from SEC Media Days doing when the week is over. Who stood out? Who said something funny? Who carried themselves well? Who was really like, that guy is a sharp guy, I like him? And that's what you're looking for with Taylon Green. You always think, as funny as this is, Eli Drinkowitz is funny, and he'll get up there and he'll have a sense of humor, and he wins over the media every single SEC Media Day. Sam Pittman doesn't have that kind of personality, but Sam is still real, and people love him. So can Arkansas really win some people over during SEC Media Days? They go on the last day. They go on Thursday, so you get to go through you got the whole week to see what everyone else is doing. You got to win some people over, and I think Taylon Green can be that and be a really strong face for this Arkansas team, which I don't know if they've had for a couple of years.
You referenced the idea of the importance of this season for Coach Pittman, and really just, for the program overall. You got to get some kind of forward momentum, which it felt like you had a couple of years ago, and then it's just backslid a little bit. And when you think of, the things that it takes to really build momentum for a football program, it's almost like stopping like a battleship. It just takes a long time to slow it down and then turn it around. You got to do this through you know, if you're going to recruit well, you got to have proper NIL funds, you know, and we're learning about this. We look at the ideas of why do you lose some in-state prospects? NIL is a part of that. Why are you in the situation that you are with NIL? Not getting the kind of donations that you're trying to get. People are a little bit reluctant to donate if they feel that it's a program that to them is not worth donating. And that's what he's got to show, that it's a program that it's worth fans sending their hard-earned $30 or $15 a month or whatever it is. I mean, that's part of building momentum for a program now, isn't it?
It is, and I think you definitely have to win people over, like I said, in terms of the NIL, the Arkansas fans that are like, okay, I'm ready to invest in this again. But I think you also have to show that you're spending the NIL money you have wisely, that I understand that with the NIL and my funds and what I'm doing with it, I'm trying to win and win now. And I'm putting those funds into guys in the transfer portal like Taylon Green and the guys that they were able to bring to Arkansas to win now, to make this team win now and help rebuild that culture, that platform that they kind of had, and a little bit of it fell off last season. So, you know, how can you show that I've gone out and got the best guys that I can with the funds and the resources that I have to bring in and win right now? And then the rest is going to work itself out, because eventually the NIL budget will hopefully, knock on wood, be where it can be, where you can go be aggressive in the portal, but also be aggressive in high school. But you also have to remember that, you know, you might not have gotten this guy out of high school, but you can get him in 2 years with some NIL money out of the transfer portal. So it's a whole new world. Everyone is working, but they have to prove, especially with two teams coming in, that they can still hold their own, that they can get guys into this Arkansas program that can win and win right now, and you can at least try to stay competitive with the rest of the league.
How excited are you for Paris, and what events? Are you got something down where you're like, man, I can't wait to go watch these women or these guys compete in certain events? What are you excited for?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. Leave on the 21st, so it's right around the corner. It was like the 2-week countdown on Sunday, and things got real. But it's exciting, and you build these relationships with these athletes over the years. I mean, or over the couple months. Obviously, track and field is going to be my first answer because we have so many connections locally here at Arkansas, athletes who train at Arkansas who are going to be there. But I'm pretty sure I mentioned him before. I just did a story on CJ Nicholas, who is a Taekwondo representative for Team USA, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I've never been to an event like that, and I think that's really cool. The mountain biking team is based in Bentonville, and so that could be another event. It's right by Versailles, which is going to be beautiful. And then volleyball. I'm trying to find me a sand volleyball game or two underneath the Eiffel Tower. So those are my top three.
I'm assuming we won't be able to chat with you because you got like the 7-hour time difference and everything. But growing up, I watched the Olympics growing up and everything, but I never had the bug. You're like, oh, that's what I'm going to go cover. I wanted to be around baseball. I wanted to be around football. I wanted to be around major league teams, and the gig that I have now is the kind of thing that I grew up kind of dreaming I would have. Did you ever feel to yourself that the Olympics was the thing or a thing that you dreamed of covering, or was this just kind of something that happened because of who you're working for?
Yeah, no, I think it just kind of organically happened that way, and I think I've really found a new love for it. Not that I didn't love watching the Olympics. I mean, after Saul and I got married in 2016, we were in Cozumel, and most of the time at night we were watching the Olympics happen. So, we love watching it. But covering it just kind of almost felt unrealistic, if that made sense. And for me growing up, it was like the Super Bowl, the World Series, the national championship with football. That's what we watched. So that's what it was in, oh, that's really cool to do. Done 2 Super Bowls, so I got to check that one off my list. But when you do an event like the Olympics and you realize how big it actually is around the world, it's something that kind of doesn't hit you, and it probably won't hit me until it's over. But it's definitely something you never knew you wanted to do until you got asked to do it, and you realize how awesome it is.
Well, we're excited for you, that's for sure, and we'll.
Thank you.
I guess we'll visit.
I'll be sending you guys lots of photos. Phil, get the WhatsApp, and I'll just send you a bunch of photos.
I got it.
Okay.
I'm in the mood for French recipes too, like from actual French chefs.
Okay.
Maybe a hat with a baguette stapled to it.
Ooh, even better.
Yeah,
Even
saw
better.
one
There you go.
Yeah.
Matt's got good ideas for us here.
Okay.
Alyssa, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you.
All right. Always, guys. Thanks again.
Thanks, Alyssa. There was France was playing in a soccer. The Euros are going on. There was the fan that had this hat and had a baguette stapled to it going. So
It's like the cheese head.
Well, the announcer's like, I have to get one of that. Wherever that is right there, I need a hat with a big baguette just on top of it.
Here in the States, we've got people that put fake cheese on their head. We've got hog hats all over the place in
You
Arkansas.
got your rally caps.
What you really need was bread on your head. That's really the direction that we need sports to go in.
Maybe you get a Captain Jack Sparrow bird comes by you to get some of that, whatever.
877-377-6963 if you got any better ideas than that. We'll be back with more halftime in just a moment.
They were so convincing in their argument. They swung me.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line Now.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text LIKE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text LIKE to 42424. That's LIKE to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is Halftime.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McCarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McCarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McCarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit #2 without one guitar.
Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you. Are you ready to give your family the best 4th of July experience yet? USA Fireworks wants to make that happen with the USA Fireworks Bangin' Giveaway. USA Fireworks has helped Arkansans more than 30 years. Go to hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks and enter for your chance to win a fireworks show worth $2,000 retail. Again, hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks. For more information about wholesale prices, go to usafireworks.org.
Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
A couple of days ago, Matt, Arkansas baseball put the capper on their transfer class. Got a catcher, so I think they got somebody from every position now coming in just from the transfer class alone. Now I do count the junior college transfers as part of the transfer class. It's just they're not out of the transfer portal. It's a different thing. And you get the guy who led the nation in batting average in JUCO ball as a catcher, no less. Elliot Peterson hit .517 for Southeast Community College. So I mean, you get some guys that are coming in from the lower levels of college baseball, junior college or Division II, that had just some ridiculous numbers. .517 average for Peterson. Carson Bowles, the outfielder coming up from Division II, hit .475. You had another guy out of JUCO, Trenton Rowan, hit .403. Brett Iredale out of New Mexico Junior College hit .441. No one's hitting .400 in Division I college baseball, but you can see it at other levels. And yeah, they've got first baseman, they got second baseman, they got outfielders of every sort, they've got third baseman, they got infielders, they got a catcher, they got three starting pitchers. Matt, they built a team through the transfer portal. Not saying these are all the guys that are going to start, but they pretty much put a whole team together through it.
I love it. I like it when these coaches, they identify a need, they identify something that's going to help this team, and they're able to go out there and get their guy. So I mean, it's welcome in. There's out of the three teams, this is the closest. I mean, I guess you put the basketball team up there, Phil.
Yeah, I think you'd have to now.
If you're talking about winning a national championship, cutting down the nets, so to speak. But the baseball team, in my opinion, still ahead of everybody when it comes to actually having a real shot, having the hope, having the belief. So I hope these guys are ready, because that's, you know how they say sometimes heavy is the crown, heavy is the shirt. Wearing that Razorback shirt with that bullseye on you, everybody's gunning for you. You know, we're the winningest programs in the last 7 years in SEC baseball. So there's a lot of expectations coming up there on the hill.
Yeah, just lacking that one thing that is not even worth mentioning at the moment. But we're looking at what they built here. I mean, just out of the transfers alone, it looks like a good team. It's just does some of this production translate from
at least two,
Florida
right?
Gulf Coast? Does it translate from Wisconsin, Milwaukee? Does it translate from Fresno State? These guys obviously are very toolsy, but there's a little bit of an introductory time frame, and truthfully, like the toughest pitching they'll see immediately are the guys that they're facing in fall. Whenever they get back and start playing again on the weekends in fall, it's their own pitchers. Those are going to be the ones that are tougher than probably any pitcher they face out of the first 4 weeks of the season. So Elliot Peterson is the name of the catcher that they've got coming in. So I mean, you bring somebody in at .517 with 15 homers and over 20 doubles with 25 steals in junior college. That means you can't just hand a starting job to Ryder Helfrich just because he's the next guy in line. You got to win that job, and you're not going to start every game either. It's the same idea with everybody in the outfield is probably leaving, although I wonder about Kendall Diggs. You can't. You're not just going to automatically hand a starting role to Nolan Souza. He's got to beat somebody out, because these guys that are coming in, they were starters wherever they played before, and it's just you got all these guys on the team that are still there. The two that I just mentioned, very toolsy, have all the things that you need to be successful. Just had the ups and the downs as a freshman, and now they're going to have to battle for their job in the fall. I like that.
Alois, so you pencil him in as starting shortstop, and then Gackle as your Friday night starter. So there's two that you're talking about that are kind of in ink almost. Who else would be in ink? Who's somebody that you're like, man, that one's locked up though? How many positions are actually open for these guys?
That's a good question.
Shortstops,
Matt.
I know who our shortstop is.
Yes, I think shortstop is locked up. Outside of that, I don't know if anything else is locked up.
It's competitive, huh?
And the thing with Gackle, too, yes, he looks like he should be a Friday night starter. He's never started a game in college yet. You get two guys here that came in from Ohio State and ECU, both lefties. Landon Beidelshees from Ohio State, Zach Root from ECU. These are guys who were really good as starting pitchers last year, and in some cases 2 years. So, Gackle should be the Friday night starter, but I'm not going to put that in pen just yet.
Right.
I'll put him in as a Saturday or a Sunday guy for right now, but I think he's going to have to earn that role too. And, he's the one that you're going to say, well, he's leading the pitching staff just because of his stuff. But I think these other guys have a lot of good stuff too. Speaking of Aloy, your boy is the Cape Cod League Player of the Week. He had 6 homers last week, 3 in one game. And actually, Arkansas has 3 of the top 4 home run hitters in the Cape Cod League so far. Now, one of the reasons for that is that they've played more games in some cases than some of the others. It's just because the Razorback season ended a little earlier than we'd like to see, and they go right there and then go play in the Cape. But it's this kid from Milwaukee, Carson Hansen. It's Veheva Aloy, and it's Ryder Helfrich that are all amongst the leaders in home runs, and not just homers, but Aloy's tearing the cover off the ball in a lot of ways in the Cape, and that's generally understood as the best summer college baseball league. It's not quite the level that you see in the SEC, but Veheva can take. I'm gonna tell you what, Matt. Look, Jace Laviolette is the front runner for Golden Spikes next year. I think that's an easy case. I wouldn't put it past Veheva Aloy to at least be in the conversation when you're at the halfway point of the season. That's a kid that can take a giant step forward next year. I really do. I think he can take a big step forward in terms of pitch selectability. And we saw him start to hit to all fields last year. I think he can take a big step.
100 comfort level, Phil, getting year 2 in the SEC. And the other thing that I think is pretty big too, his brother's going to be on the squad. So yeah. I think you're exactly right.
And then Gage Wood is doing really well in the Cape. Tate McGuire doing really well in the Cape. Those are 2 guys who could be starting pitchers for Arkansas next year as well. I sometimes think Gage Wood gets forgotten about as a potential starting pitcher, just because of Gackle and because you brought in 3 guys that have history starting at good programs over the last year or 2 years. But I think Gage Wood showed this past season that there is the capability of him getting out there for 5 to 6 to 7 innings. We didn't get a chance to see Tate McGuire pitch, but as well as he's going in the Cape, he'll get a chance to show what he can do as a starter, I think, in the fall. And then there's Ben Bybee. So, there's like 7 or 8 different options for starting pitchers for Arkansas this next year. And I got to get out there at some point. I really do. I got to get out to the Cape. I know Dave Van Horn is he's tweeting more than he's tweeted this last week than in the previous 3 years combined, because he's taking photos with the Razorback players that are there and making sure he doesn't leave one of them out. So that would be so much fun to go out there and just you like shellfish, Matt? Do you do lobster rolls? Do you do New England clam chowder, the white one? Do you do all that? Because if you couple that with the weather in the Cape at this time of the year and the Cape Cod League, I'm not sure if there'd be a better week spent.
It would be, we could make our own documentary like Clint Eastwood and Amy Adams and T. Lakes did with Trouble with the Curve. We could go out there and check it out. I don't know who our Amy Adams would be, but we could go out there.
We might be able to find one. I've never been to the Cape. I've been to Nantucket. I've been to Martha's Vineyard. I feel like I'm supposed to say it like, oh, we've been to Martha's Vineyard.
Got a house in the Hamptons.
Yeah, we didn't get that. We haven't gone out that far. We haven't gone out that far east on Long Island just yet. I don't know if I could go all out to the Hamptons. But as far as Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket were concerned,
that's where T. Lakes was not too long ago with the world tour that was going on when he had his famous mugshot.
Yeah, that was it's beautiful out there. Which mugshot was it?
He was in the 2025 BMW, and some youngster kind of got him. Where you're kind of wondering, you think you're in a safe place, but you're just like, bro, there's no way you should be driving. Like you're Justin Timberlake, like only in a closed off track with Jim Boeheim. Like y'all and your Bob Huggins, y'all stay over on this area where nobody can get you, and then y'all take care. If not, if y'all go out in real life, get somebody to drive you guys.
Uber and Lyft are really important things.
It's a real thing right there on your phone.
Absolutely. Or, I mean, literally, you might as well just hitch. If you're Justin Timberlake, hitch a ride. They'll know who you are. They'll take you where you need to go. I'm sure he's listening right now to this very advice. We'll be back and wrap up hour number 2 on halftime in just a moment.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
This is halftime.
Have you tried the TGI Friday weekly deals? On Monday, they have 50-cent wings, traditional or boneless, 10-piece minimum. Tuesday, cheeseburgers and fries with a fountain drink for $10. On Wednesday, Cajun shrimp and chicken pasta for only $12. On Thursday, enjoy a half a rack of ribs for only $12. Stop by and check out the weekday deals at TGI Fridays, I-540 at Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. In here, it's always Friday.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come Get You Some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witz Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witz Marine at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as... That's 888-665-0696.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hot link, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their hand-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Oh, I got it. I don't get on Facebook too often, but I got on earlier today, and it showed me a memory from, I think it was 14 years ago. I sent you, Matt, and Christian the screenshot from it. It is the 14-year anniversary of one of the most bizarre and surreal events that I've ever been a part of in the world of sports. Pre-game boxing match before a Travelers game at Dickey Stevens Park with former UALR baseball coach Gary Hogan, who I think was 63 or 64 at this time, and Jose Canseco. Yes, that Jose Canseco, the 1988 American League MVP, and first guy to ever have 40 steals and 40 home runs. The same Canseco had a fly ball bounce off his head over the fence for a home run. The same guy that injured himself throwing a knuckleball. The one who hates Alex Rodriguez openly. The one who sent his twin brother, Ozzy, for another boxing match that they thought they'd signed Jose up for. This was actually really Jose Canseco. Matt, it's like I told Alyssa, like I grew up, wanting to cover baseball and football and all of that. I grew up loving boxing, but I would have not thought at 11 years old when Canseco won the MVP that I would see him like 29 years later trying to make $25,000 from a boxing match at a AA ballpark against a man that was in his mid-60s. And I was the ring announcer for it, wearing the tuxedo T-shirt, which is about as dressed up as I've been in the last 14 years.
It's very Pat Benatar. It was, dude. it's a gangster, man. You look good, dude.
I had a lot of hair, I had a little more hair then too.
No, man, you had the flow going. Yeah, you did.
You know what it was like though to walk into the room that we had given Canseco to use as his locker room. There was no locker there. It was a room that they usually would sell to a group to have a picnic in there for a baseball game. To walk in there with a whole set of notes and a script that I'd written to introduce Jose Canseco, who was pretty close to, he was beneath God, but close to it.
He was
as
as
the
big
best
as Hulk
baseball
Hogan
player in the world in the late 80s.
His name was amazing. Yeah, Jose. You knew Jose. He dated Madonna around then, didn't he?
Well, he also started, he kind of start the whole steroid craze in professional baseball. He's the godfather of it. And to walk in and to ask him if it was all right, I gave him the script. I was like, this is what I've written for you. He okayed it all. He nodded his head. He had this weird thing with his eyes. He had trouble with his eyes. He kept doing a real heavy 2-second blink, close his eyes for 2 seconds, then open it up again. And he literally could have killed Gary. He could have killed Gary. I will never forget seeing from the side as after I'd done all my introductions, and it was I think a 3 or 4 round fight with headgear. He bloodies Gary's lip with a straight left, a jab. Gary backs into the rope. He's obviously dazed, and I see Canseco get that right arm ready for a straight overhand right, in which he could have ended Gary Hogan's life at that very moment. And as the fist slowly began to come forward, he shook his head. The look in his face said, I can't do this to this man. And he put his hand down, and he let himself get beat. I was already a fan of his by that point, but him handling it that way and just I take take the money and go. And Gary ends up as the, it wasn't a sanctioned fight, so you can't really have judges. So he was like the fake winner of it. But look, I won't see anything that's any weirder than that.
Jose, he even says his name right.
That's right. It's not even the soft J. It is the Jose Canseco, and Ozzy, who wasn't quite the same as him. We go into our third hour of halftime. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio joins us in about 20 minutes. Got an open segment coming up, 877-377-6963 for calls and texts, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Summertime in Arkansas means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel Crickhopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The Crickhopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels with 4 or 6 pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel Crickhopper.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Summer camp, vacation, travel baseball, repeat. Family reunion, lake time, I'm beat. A parent in the summertime is a glorified chauffeur, but if you find yourself in a fender bender, you'll need a good lawyer. I'm Jackie Mock. With 12 years of experience in insurance and car wreck cases, I can help get you back on the road for more summer fun. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Now we will share a lifetime of the fondest memories.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, the moisture from Barrow will continue to push through today, so occasional showers and thunderstorms. Could see some heavy rain at times, a couple of inches of rain possible for today. Tonight, we will start to clear out. Overnight lows in the low to mid 60s and sunny skies on Wednesday, a high water on the middle 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grain Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 51 days.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios.
Streaming on hitthatline.com. You got to take it here. Got the perspective. Smith, I'm all right. One kid thing dominate, and we not doing it. We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field. Yeah.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no mock at halftime.
Even one Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Welcome back on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. It is 1 minute after 1 o'clock in the afternoon on halftime. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston with you for one more hour before Ruskin and Zach take over the airwaves. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio coming up in about 15 minutes on the official start of talking season. Big 12 Media Days have gotten underway already. Brett Yormark has, I think he's completed his statements. And then let's get a look at the coaches that are speaking today for Big 12. Scrolling down, you go with Sonny Dykes. Third year at TCU for Sonny Dykes. I guess the question is, which is the real TCU under Sonny Dykes?
Will you please
stand
up?
Is it the team that plays for a national championship, or a team that drops to a game under 500?
Is Bryles still their OC?
I believe he is.
Okay, he's
only been there a year.
Oh yeah, well I know he's a job hopper. That's why I was wondering if he's still there, if they're still in cahoots, so to speak. But it'd be interesting.
Kansas State head coach Chris Kleeman is after him, and all of these are right now. I think Sonny Coach Dykes is speaking right now. Then it's Kansas State. Cincinnati after that, Scott Satterfield. I mean, just looking at the two of the teams that are speaking first, TCU and Cincinnati, these are programs that have played recently in the college football playoff, Matt, and it'd be a huge surprise if they make any step forward towards that. I'd say the year that TCU got there was a humongous surprise. Now, Cincinnati getting there was a surprise only because it's group of five. Back then, they were a group of five, but that was a program also that had a lot of momentum. Under Coach Fickell, and it was kind of expected that if they were undefeated, and it looked like they might be, that they would end up in the playoff four, and they were. But it's a different land now for Cincinnati football, and getting Scott Satterfield after he'd had trouble, I think, the last couple of years at Louisville. Texas Tech and Joey McGuire, Kyle Whittingham and Utah, speaking at 12:20 Pacific time, so that's the team that's picked to win the Big 12, Matt.
Utah?
Yeah.
They got
if Rising's healthy, I don't see how not.
I like Utah. I watched them play a little bit last year. That defense is real. Now I know it's the Pac-12, but they're moving over to the Big 12. They actually, that's their thing. We saw them play Florida. If you watched, I watched them play Florida because we were playing Florida. You see Utah play them. That defense they have is absolutely real. I'm not as heavy. I'm not as gung ho on Oklahoma State as everybody else is. I don't think Oklahoma State's going to win the Big 12. So I think that's deep. Maybe that's good if the media picks them and they might maybe start believing some of their press clippings, and that gives us a chance when we go in there. I'm not saying they're not a talented team by any means. They're very talented. They're going to go bowling, but I don't know that they win the Big 12.
Well, you do hear from Mike Gundy at, I guess it's 3 o'clock Central Time. There's a 2-hour difference. I think that's a program. It's not like you want to emulate the Mike Gundy program at Oklahoma State. But, man, if you're Arkansas, you would take a coach that's there 20 years, but more than one handful of 10-win seasons. The worst season they've had under Mike Gundy since his first year is 7-6. It's happened 5 times in his 19 years, and they've had more 10-win seasons than 7-win seasons. Think about where that program does fit in, though, to the Big 12. I feel like that's one of the programs that could rise, not to the level of dominance in the Big 12, but they're positioned to do very well in that conference moving forward with the exits of Texas and Oklahoma.
It tells you when you see a running back win the Doak Walker, when you see a running back, and that's why I'm a believer if these guys should be able to go to the NFL and earn their living. He's not going to run the same this year. You don't see these guys go back to back like that. He'll get a little nicked up. He starts somebody in his ear talking about going. That's what I mean. They're gonna. That's what you're going with. I don't know how healthy you think that he'll be all season long. So, but if he can go, yeah. But I think he'll take a step back as well.
Wonder what it'll be like for him today, speaking, answering questions that he knows are coming about, being charged with DUI and being under the influence and also being underage at the same time. So that's coming for him. He had look at this season last year. It was really something else. Fewest rushing yards, and he did have a game with only 12 rushing yards against South Alabama in a loss, but also put up almost 300 against West Virginia.
No
270
defense
against Cincinnati. No defense.
Cincinnati plays, but Cincinnati was 1-8 last year.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Like that's like even BYU took a step back going into the Big 12 last year. BYU as an independent was a program you could count on for what, like 8, 9 wins a year.
Mm-hmm.
They go into the Big 12, and then they only got one conference win. Of course, they did get a victory at.
They were 2-7,
Stadium.
2-7 last year in conference.
I mean, that's a jump. It is a jump going from independent where you're scheduling yourself, and now you have it made for you with programs that are in this league. It's much tougher. And it's also like you got to get into that league too. It's not like you can stay a football independent unless you're really. I think only unless you're Notre Dame. I think there's only 2 football independents left. Notre Dame and I think New Mexico State may still be independent. UMass has joined the MAC. Am I forgetting any programs out there that still may be independent? Army. Is it Army or is it Navy that's been independent? The others in the American? I think they both joined the American by now.
Yeah.
And Air Force is in the Mountain West.
Mountain West.
Can't really be an independent any longer. You got to have the television contract. That's what being part of a conference is about.
Is Texas and Notre Dame the 2 biggest schools in the country? You just brought up, you're saying you can't be an independent. Notre Dame can, and whatever they're doing. But
they have their own TV contract.
It's Texas. To me, it feels like if you're just Texas and Notre Dame, those are 2 of the biggest programs that they kind of make their own rules. Where's the SEC meetings this year? It's in Dallas to accommodate Texas.
Yeah, you're right about that. It is to accommodate them and to accommodate Oklahoma too. But it's just like they ran the Southwest Conference basically, tried to run the Big 12. And they got. I mean, I don't know if it's a matter of the pushback or anything, but they obviously viewed the Big 12 in a way that the rest of that league did not. If you're talking the biggest brands in sports, I mean, Notre Dame still that does carry quite a lot of weight. Texas too. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to say what other programs are at the same level, and you're not talking just program too. It's got to be an athletic department thing. Of course, football is going to lead the way. Ohio State, Michigan, maybe. I mean, Alabama's going to have to be there too.
As far as making your own rules and accommodating to you, and that's kind of above the fray, almost, so to speak. I would put Ohio State in that group. Yeah.
Something we got into yesterday about the meaning of the Texas game, and I don't have any. I think the Texas rivalry means something different now than it did in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. When you're part of the same league as Texas then, and Arkansas football was positioned differently in those years than they are now. I mean, you were consistently one of the better teams in the Southwest Conference, and so Texas would view Arkansas as you got to beat Arkansas if you're going to win this league. And I mean, think of how successful Arkansas was against school like A&M. I mean, Arkansas dominated A&M over a 30-year period. And I wasn't trying to talk down about the Texas rivalry because I think it does mean something. I think it's incredibly important. I think getting these 2 teams back to where they'll be playing almost every year, they should be playing almost every year. And I think Texas is buying into this. But Arkansas football is not the same now as it was when they were in the South, when the program was in the Southwest Conference, or even the years in between where you would play them 5 times, 6, 7 times in that 30-year stretch. That's why I'm looking at the games that matter right now. You realize Arkansas has been dominated by Auburn over the last 13 years. You get Auburn as your first league game. A&M beat them once in the last 12. Get those wins. Arkansas dominated A&M when the Texas rivalry meant something. Who's Texas's biggest rivals coming into this league now? Oklahoma, and then A&M. And then you start from there afterwards.
Schools are coaches that were kind of above it. Last year was Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. Phil, what is the latest on that? Is there's no sanctions, there's no repercussions, there's nothing. They win a national title, Harbaugh leaves. Is that it? Like we're not You know, there's all this talk about suspension and loss of games, and all. Now there's nothing. There's not a peep going on with Michigan.
You're absolutely right about that. When did the punishment come down for USC after Pete Carroll left for Seattle? Was it just a few months after that? Because I mean, you're in a much different world now, and it doesn't feel like there's going to be any repercussions for. They get the one. Really, I mean, there was more than just one thing that happened with Michigan football. I mean, there was recruiting violations during COVID. There was the whole the sign stealing thing, and I mean, there's no reason to get into it. But
the computers.
It was much more than one thing. Yes, the computers,
the
too.
laptop, yeah.
Much more than one thing that got into it. Quick break on halftime. We'll be talking with Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio right after this break.
This is halftime.
It's like Clark Kent. This guy is dominating offensively. He's also a quality guy. We had more fun talking with him. He was a walk-on. Now he's an All-American.
This video is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and HitThatLine.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive in DeQueen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you. Are you ready to give your family the best 4th of July experience yet? USA Fireworks wants to make that happen with the USA Fireworks Bangin' Giveaway. USA Fireworks has helped Arkansans more than 30 years. Go to hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks and enter for your chance to win a fireworks show worth $2,000 retail. Again, hitthatline.com/USA Fireworks. For more information about wholesale prices, go to usafireworks.org.
This video.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Always appreciate Bill King's time from Nashville Sports Radio. He joins us Tuesdays here. He is from WNSR, hosting 6 to 9, and Bill is the king of college football talk. And today, I guess, Bill, is the start of talking season. Big 12 Media Days underway. How you doing?
That league, guys, is as unpredictable a preseason listing that I've seen in certainly my existence. There's any number of teams that you could say could win that league, and you're not just trying to hide.
So, I mean, Brett Yormark is hitting on that a lot. We talked with someone yesterday. Connor O'Gara called it America's Conference, I think, for the reason that you said, just because there is no – I mean, I know Utah's the favorite, but there is no Georgia. There is no Ohio State. There isn't a program that you're pointing at and said, this is the blue blood of this conference right now, which, I mean, does it make it more interesting than other leagues?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't think it's more interesting in the SEC and the Big Ten, but I think it's a league that 14 years ago looked dead and now is the third best league in all of sports, college sports. So I think they've got a lot going for them.
Yeah, a little.
What about Colorado? I think they're up to speak and everything going on there. Is there Colorado go to a bowl game this year? How do you realistically? I know they're America's darlings last year, and with Dion, his boy, and Travis Hunter, who I think could be the best two-way player since Charles Woodson. Have they made a splash? Are they going to do anything this year?
I think that roster's iffy. I really do, and I think. I would probably bet they're not in a bowl game. Now, they have a fantastic quarterback, as you just mentioned, and they've got some players that will stand out. Paid a lot of money for a 5-star offensive lineman in recruiting that I assume is going to start at one of the guard positions. But I just don't think, as of right now, they're a 7-win type team.
You know, I'm looking at programs. You know, Sonny Dykes has finished speaking. Well, I guess he's got another minute left in his segment, and then in about 20 minutes, Scott Satterfield from Cincinnati will be up there. And, you know, you wonder about TCU is what is the program under Sonny Dykes? Is it the team that competed for a national championship his first year, or is it the team that finished under 500 the next season, or they're somewhere in between? Cincinnati's just really it's interesting to see. It's a program that has fallen off majorly since Luke Fickell left for Wisconsin, but you know, we thought of them as one of the best, if not the best, Group of 5 program for many years, and they found it really tough jumping up into the Big 12 last year.
I get a sense that TCU is looking a little bit like Baylor. They won 3 years ago. They won the league, right? Had a fantastic year, and all these predictions about the future, and it just bottomed. I don't know if it's going that far. I can tell you, TCU is very much in the bag game, meaning paying players. And I'll just give you an example. The pitcher they got out of Wichita State, Tennessee wanted badly. And they're really, and obviously all this is on the up and up. They're spending money. That part I'm confident in. I just don't know if their future. I don't know if a couple of years ago that was a big misleading year for them as far as what the future entails.
Well, you're looking for stability, and I guess it's very difficult to continue being stable when you play for a national championship your first year. Right. Like looking at K-State, Iowa State, there's been stability there, but there is no program in the Big 12 that is more stable than Oklahoma State. And Mike Gundy's entering his 20th year there, and I don't know. That's Arkansas plays them the second week of the season. Bill, I think that's just an amazingly important game for Arkansas, and that's a program that I could see with Texas and Oklahoma leaving. It's not like Oklahoma State will dominate the Big 12, but they can certainly ascend and maybe even be maybe a little bit better than they have been over the course of 19 years under Gundy.
Under the category of evaluate players that might be 3 stars, and not only evaluates them correctly, but nurtures them, makes them better. Gundy's right at the top of that list. Wisconsin for many years was too, and Luke Fickell's going to do a good job there. But they absolutely do that, and they're a threat. And Lance Leipold at Kansas is a fantastic coach. And if they get people stop some on defense and they keep their quarterback who's very good healthy, they're going to be a threat.
Hey, who's the biggest brand right now? Is Texas and Notre Dame in my mind? They feel like they're up there. I know Ohio State is as well. But in your opinion, with Saban stepping down at Alabama, are they still there? Who would be the biggest college football brand right now?
It would be Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Alabama. And I'm probably leaving somebody. You could throw Notre Dame in there, Michigan. Those are really, really deep, rich blue bloods who have everything you want. Resources, support, cash flow, positive momentum, whatever the category is, they've got all that.
One program you didn't throw in there was Clemson. If you were to say 5 years ago, they would have been on that list. They might have been at the top of the list.
Yeah, quarterbacks we've talked about, guys. They're not what they were, and that's probably not a fair assessment to compare yourselves with Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson, but they're distantly behind that level, and they just don't have the playmakers offensively anymore, and they're not getting them. Defensively, they've been salty, and maybe not with the defensive line superstars they had a few years back, but they're still really good on that side of the ball. They still recruit well. But it's the entire offense, and it's those coordinators meant so much to them, and they're not around anymore.
Hey, Bill, so I was looking at the preseason rankings, and there's 8 teams that aren't in the top 25. Which one of these teams, in your opinion, has the best chance, if any? If it's 0, the answer is 0. But out of the teams in the SEC that are not ranked in the top 25, that's A&M, Kentucky, Auburn, Florida, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt. Is there a Cinderella there? Is there one of these teams that you think can get in that playoff 12?
I would pick A&M in that group. They have a lot of personnel. They're stabilized with Mike Elko. They're going to be salty on defense because that's what he does. And if they keep Connor Wegman, the quarterback, healthy, which has been an issue a year ago, I think they're a threat. I wouldn't bet on them or pick them to be in the 12. But if you say, Bill, you got to, in that list, who would be your favorite, and it would be the Aggies. I think easily.
What about Auburn? Hugh Freeze there. I kind of see I'm with you on A&M and the 12th man, so to speak. But I kind of think Auburn could be one of those teams as well.
I like their future. I want to see more stability at quarterback. The biggest problem Auburn has is their 2 biggest enemies are probably the 2 best programs in America, and that's Georgia and Alabama.
Right.
And you have to deal with them every year. And you're probably never going to have better players them, right? I mean, it's maybe 1 in 10 years. You've got better players than them, and that's maybe not even going to happen then. That's a problem. Now, you can still have a third loss somewhere and get in the top 12, but the SEC guys, as you know, you live there, is so jammed up now, man. I mean, coming out of there 9-3 is going to be a chore.
Absolutely, and we find it. As we cover a little bit of the recruiting on Arkansas, that it's even some of the in-state kids, some of the best in-state players have committed elsewhere. Maybe you've seen Marcus Wimberly, safety out of Parkview High School, or Omarion Robinson, pardon me, committed to Oklahoma. And he's the number 1 player in the state for 2025. Is Arkansas in a place where, look, I mean, you got to do better with your in-state kids. I think that goes without saying. But just like you'd said about the way that Mike Gundy, works with 3-star players more often than not, and develops them and finds ways to win with those programs. And thinking of Wisconsin previously, is that the kind of program Arkansas has to be in the SEC?
I'm afraid so, because the state's never going to produce any volume for you, and you do not have strangleholds in Texas like you did back in the old Southwest Conference days. It's tough. It's going to have to be brilliant evaluating. You can get stars, but volume is my point. And we were doing this. Of all the SEC states, Arkansas and Kentucky are probably the poorest when it comes to producing ball players, meaning volume of ball players. And that's where are you going to go steal players? Everybody's in Texas. Everybody's in Florida. They just got a big name out of Georgia. That was huge. But it's tough, man. Arkansas is a very difficult fit, unfortunately.
I mean, it's almost like they're playing money ball. It's the same situation as the Oakland A's all those years ago, where they have to find value where others don't, and sometimes even fit square pegs into round holes in order for things to find a way to succeed, I guess is the right way to put it. But Arkansas is playing a different game than Alabama or Georgia is. They're in the same league, but it's a different game.
It is. It's a different game. What Georgia can get done, guys. Georgia, number 1, has as good, if not a better starting 25, 22 than most teams. But their 35 through 55 is ridiculous, right? Could be starting for so many teams. And it's hard to stack them up like that. And plus, guys, Greater Atlanta is about 7 million people. Ugh. Greater Dallas is 8 million. Greater Houston's about 7 million. If you got a place like that to tap into, it's wonderful. Arkansas doesn't have that.
That's right. Yeah, and the state of Arkansas doesn't even have half that population.
Right.
Hey, Bill. Last thing on another topic, just to finish on. What did you think watching when the baseball portal closed and not a single Texas A&M Aggie went with Schlossnagle to Texas, and just about all of them, all the really, really good ones, are staying at A&M?
It's amazing. Number 1, they obviously love that coach, that assistant coach that they retained or hired. And not only that, but they're doing well in the portal. They're spending money. Texas and A&M are just going crazy. Those 2 lefties at Arkansas are you're going to love.
Oh, yeah.
Calling those games. So they're ridiculous. Ohio State kid I love, and I like Root too. But no, man, it's this baseball stuff. I will take. I'm about to probably have to go see my priest after I say what I say. I've been watching the portal news more than I've been watching football depth charts today, guys. So forgive me, I've sinned.
That's all right. We can have a public confession here if you need. It's all right. Just a couple of novenas, and I think you'll be just fine. Thank you, Bill.
There you go.
Appreciate you very much. Bill King with us on Nashville from Nashville Sports Radio today. That would be the first confession I ever took, Matt.
Well, you did great. That should tell you everything you need to know about that coach that Texas got.
Oh yeah,
that should tell you everything you need to know about him.
Would also say, and I didn't have time to bring it up with Bill because we were just running out of time. I remember a conversation I had with him, and this was during the time when Kelly Bryant was going on his free agency tour. When was that? Like 2019, I think it might have been. and we had Bill on. Ty was the co-host then. We brought up the idea of a transfer portal and you know the topic that it can bring up and how it's a free agency in college football. And he wasn't interested in it. He said he wasn't going to take any time talking about it, and because that was really at the very start of when you started to see all this movement across college sports. Now, it is more interesting to watch all of this movement. That's one of the things you love about the NFL and free agency, and right now in the NBA. And it's one of the things that we were complaining about in the baseball offseason is there was nothing to talk about because essentially I think the owners were colluding to try to keep their salaries down. These things are actually good for sports in terms of conversation. Keeps them in everybody's thoughts and everybody's minds and everybody's lips. Quick break on halftime. You can call, you can text 877-377-6963. It's the home stretch, and we'll be right back.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Hey, Ty Richardson for Jim. They have several locations in the Arkansas area, but I specifically want to talk to you about Jim Mart number 10. Great deli. My goodness. Great lunch, great dinner. But have you had the breakfast yet? It's the best in town. And they have that convenient drive-through window. So when you're heading north or south on 540, take exit number 6 for Jim Mart number 10. 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith. Jim, the leading gas station and convenience store in the area.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
Whether it's torque, horsepower, or just extreme work, diesel trucks do their job. But when your diesel truck needs maintenance or repair, it's time to head to Extreme Diesel. Everything from standard maintenance to extreme repairs, including injector testing. Extreme Diesel delivers. They have the tools and service for your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. You trust your truck to deliver on your needs, and you can trust your truck at Extreme Diesel. 6630 Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma. Check them out on Facebook or give them a call at 651-3363. They're bilingual, now offering CP4 solutions for both Chevy and Ford.
This moment of relief brought to you by your local State Farm agent, who also brings relief with all your auto insurance needs.
Call Heath Roberts at 479-452-4088 for a free quote today.
Walk-Ons is always a win, whether it's for a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner. Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into their mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Something was up with my text line earlier, and I had to refresh it, and all of a sudden, like 25 texts showed up. I wondered what was going on because I hadn't seen one for a couple hours. Bruce in Nashville is a Terry Garr guy. Was anybody not? Let's be honest about this here. If you just see Young Frankenstein once, it's all you need. Mr. Mom, I think, would work just fine, too. Ellis and Harrison saw the Savannah Bananas. And is this a new league? I don't think they play in a league. I think they have their own thing. They've become the Globetrotters of baseball. And like the Globetrotters played the same team every game, the Washington Generals. The Bananas play, what are they called? The Party Animals every single game. The Party Animals, by the way, they have a hype guy, broadcaster, who wears a cheetah pimp coat during his broadcasts, and he is an Arkansas guy. In fact, for years he was the voice of Valonia Sports when he was in high school there, and it's pretty entertaining. What else? Here's something interesting, too. ACC Media Days are the end of the month. DJ Uiagalelei, formerly from Clemson, then Oregon State, now Florida State, was invited by the conference to speak at the ACC kickoff, they call it. And he has declined the invitation. Said that the experience of attending that event when he was at Clemson was among the highlights of his time, but he wants people that were part of last year's Florida State team who won the ACC championship to be in Charlotte for the ACC kickoff. That's interesting. I mean, somebody who's already spoken at the event. He's the starting quarterback. He's unchallenged there after the last, I guess he started for, has it been 3 years or 4 years for Division I teams? But he is declining the invite, and I didn't realize that the invite comes from the conference. I'd have thought it's more just from the coach. Because if the coach asks you to go speak, you go speak, right? You're not going to say, Coach, I don't really think that I should be doing this. Maybe you can speak with Mike Norvell about that and then let him make the decision. But I don't know. I would feel like it'd be a little bit easier to say no to the conference overall than your head coach. Did you speak at a media day, Matt? Did you go to an SEC media days?
Jeb Huckabee and myself went with Coach Nutt, Kevin Trainer, hopped in a little.
Well, Kevin's like always he's the mediator at all of them.
Yeah, he's big time. He was big time back then, but he was like, he getting started and stuff. But yeah, KT's he's a G. And but yeah, I went up there. Not my favorite thing. I didn't have to do a monologue or anything, but
you just take questions, right?
Just take questions. That's right. And it was cool. It was we flew in. We met at the airport. I can't remember if Jeb and I drove together. We might have drove to the airport together, but we met at the airport, and we're there and back the same day. You know, there wasn't getting a hotel or anything. It was a 6-hour, 8-hour deal, but it was a full day. I mean, it's a full day, but you're back the same day.
You get any dumb questions? I mean, I would feel like at media days you might get a dumb question or two. Maybe not like media day at the Super Bowl, but a couple of them.
Well, the weirdest question or dumb, it's like, and you know, they say there's no dumb questions, but it's like, what's your favorite play? I was like, my favorite play is handing the ball to Cedric Cobbs and watching him run 48 yards for a touchdown. They're like, no, what's your favorite play? I'm like, no, that's my favorite play. I don't know what are you missing about that? I hand the ball off to my running back that we had a stable of them. If it was Darius Howard, Fred Talley, DeCorey Birmingham, Cedric Cobbs, Peyton Hillis, Mark Pierce. I like watching those dudes work, man. That was they were good at their craft.
Well, what do you think of Uiagalelei declining the invitation and wanting his teammates that were there last year to do the speaking in this case?
It's not his. It's probably he's shy. That's not his thing. I mean, that's okay. That's not a. There's people up there that are for that. I think you have to be authentic with the way you lead, and if that's not your thing.
Don't fake it. Don't try to fake it.
Don't try to, because then they read through it, and then it's just it's a down. It's you're in trouble once you start doing that.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of the quarterbacks that are scheduled to speak next week at SEC Media Days that were not at their programs last year. Arkansas's quarterback being one of them, Taylon Green. But that's somebody I want to hear from. I mean, it's somebody I think anybody that's a fan of this team wants to hear from right now, and it's just got so many you've rebuilt through the transfer portal, so it makes a lot of sense. Who else? Who are the other quarterbacks that are going to be speaking? Jalen Milroe, Peyton Thorne from Auburn, Taylon Green, Graham Mertz.
They're taking Milroe. I guess you got to take.
You got to take him, right?
Are they not taking another Alabama? Is he the only quarter? Because I would have bet you that he's not the starting quarterback for Alabama. But
they've got an offensive lineman, Tyler Booker, and a defensive back, Malachi Moore. See other quarterbacks. So Mertz is going with Florida. His second year there. Carson Beck, front runner for the Heisman. He'd have to be there for Georgia. Kentucky's not sending a quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier is going for LSU. He was behind Jaden Daniels last year. We saw him a couple years ago when Arkansas went into Tiger Stadium, and Nussmeier, I think he relieved in that game. I don't think he started it. Jackson Dart goes for Ole Miss. Blake Shapen will go for Mississippi State. He quarterbacked at Baylor last year.
Who's Missouri's quarterback?
Brady Cook.
I like him. And I asked Bill about Auburn. Is it Thorne? Is he the quarterback there at Auburn? Hugh Freeze is saying. I think he's right, Phil, when he says A&M could be a team, but Auburn's another team I think that's an SEC school that's not in the top 25 right now that could finish the season in the top 25.
Well, now A&M's quarterback Connor Wagman, he's good. I mean, he's really good.
Well, they had Brad Johnson's son was their quarterback last year, wasn't he? Is it Max Johnson? No. No, maybe that was the tight end was his brother, but it was like they had
both of them.
Yeah, they tied in. They both transferred.
Well, of course they showed this like you should how many times did you get to see Brad Johnson during those football games?
That's the only reason I turned in.
It was like when Caden Kent was batting in the College World Series for Texas.
That's
A&M.
how he was acting too, huh?
Yeah, it's like the camera's on Dad more than it's on me.
No emotion, robot computer. That's how all these quarterbacks are trained. That's why you get these quarterbacks going to media day, but we're all trained a certain way to. You can show a little personality, but man, it's team first. Let's talk about the other guys. That's just what you get. You're not giving anything away.
I wonder who will do any boasting, amongst any of these guys we're talking about.
Right.
And, Quinn Ewers is going for Texas. Ewers was the other day. He was talking about how Texas is everybody's biggest game this year, even though there's probably like 4 or 5 teams on Texas's schedule that you could point to that there are bigger games other than the Longhorns.
Texas plays Georgia and Alabama this year. Is that true?
I will look up their schedule real quick.
That's
it's like you can't remember all of these.
Yeah, I
can't.
I know that
Texas gets.
We know they played Georgia.
No, they don't have Alabama.
Okay.
No, they have Michigan, Oklahoma. Look, they get Oklahoma and Georgia in back-to-back games. Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, A&M. You play Georgia and Oklahoma back-to-back years. That's
back-to-back. That'll be tough.
Weeks.
You got to think that's a 1-1. They'll be happy with 1-1 right there.
Now, they're going to Ann Arbor. This Michigan team that they're playing is not last year's Michigan.
But you can't make any mistakes. You know it's going to be hostile. You know they're going to have defense. You know they're going to run the ball. They lost their quarterback. We get that. So it's one of those games, Phil, where you can't beat yourself when you go into that hostile environment. And how much do you think there's a carryover from the belief that they went into Tuscaloosa last year and won there? They can continue with that a little bit.
That's true. Well, they have a great idea to start 5-0 before their first week off. Colorado State, Michigan, UTSA, ULM, and Mississippi State. They don't play an SEC team until week 5, and it's at home against Mississippi State. They only leave the state of Texas once in the first 7 games. They got to go to Ann Arbor, and that's it. The Red River rivalry is in Dallas. Their first league game outside the state of Texas is Vanderbilt, and they'll have more fans there. They'll sell out just Texas fans. There ain't going to be any Vanderbilt fans at that stadium.
Do we have
25,000 people? You could fit that in one section of Darrell Royal Memorial Stadium.
I'm proposing, if anybody's out there, we should make Vandy our permanent. That should be George. I mean, Texas gets to play Vandy. Come on.
They did. I forget who Vanderbilt got as far as their
Kentucky, I think, and Tennessee.
It was Tennessee, I think, because they're supposed to have like a thing with Tennessee.
Yeah, I think that
because they're
too.
located in Tennessee. Outside of that, I can't think of another reason. Because I've been there. I've been there in the Marriott Hotel that's right there by the end zone on campus at Vanderbilt University for a Tennessee Vanderbilt football game. I was there with women's basketball for an event around Thanksgiving. And I sat there in my room, watched. You could see into the stadium. You could see there were maybe an eighth of the crowd was Vanderbilt fans in their own stadium against Tennessee. It's just going to be like that all year long. Hey, don't forget, we've got the football trip of the lifetime coming up very soon, presented by HitThatLine.com, ESPN Arkansas, and Hardee's, doing it for the 19th consecutive year here on ESPN Arkansas. This year, it's the Cowboys and the Eagles at AT&T Stadium in Arlington on November the 10th. And, of course, you know how you qualify. You got to eat a Monster Burger at Hardee's in 150 seconds, and you qualify for a chance to win. Just make sure you're listening to all shows here on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com. Follow our social media pages and get to the website, and you'll find the details and the dates for qualifiers and our live broadcasts at Hardee's as we go through the 19th annual football trip of a lifetime. And back to wrap up halftime right after this quick break.
This is halftime.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Have you tried the TGI Friday weekday deals? On Monday, they have 50-cent wings, traditional or boneless, 10-piece minimum. Tuesday, cheeseburgers and fries with a fountain drink for $10. On Wednesday, Cajun shrimp and chicken pasta for only $12. On Thursday, enjoy a half a rack of ribs for only $12. Stop by and check out the weekday deals at TGI Fridays, I-540 at Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. In here, it's always Friday.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make Awake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make Awake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make Awake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street at Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make Awake Bait and Tackle.
Largemouth bass will be spawning soon at ponds and lakes all over Arkansas and Oklahoma. One of the best lures to catch them on at this time is the famous Yum Dinger. We make them by the truckloads in Fort Smith in 3, 4, 5, and 6-inch sizes, and they are in tackle boxes of bass anglers all over the U.S. and all over the world. Wacky rigging the 5-inch model can't be beat for spawning bass. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Yum Dinger.
When you need tough and paint just isn't enough, check out River City Coatings in Van Buren. When it comes to your metals, paint can peel and crack over time. Whether it's your patio furniture, rims or trims on your automobile, or heavy equipment, no one has time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
Dozy Place has now been serving award-winning steaks for over 20 years. Celebrate your special birthday, holiday, person, or just because at Dozy Place. Start with delicious appetizers and your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Dozy Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Reservations are recommended, so call 784-9111. 784-9111 for Dozy Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith. Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Z Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
I can't get no satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction if I try.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Wrapping the show up here in our final segment with a reminder that if you missed anything today, our conversations with the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, with Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation, with Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio. It'll all be on the Eastside Liquor Halftime podcast that Seabrooks has cooked up. Be released once the show is complete. And Ruskin and Zach will be with you in about 6 minutes on this very affiliate that you're listening to. Tomorrow, no Clay Henry. I got some photos from Clay yesterday, Matt, and this is a happy man. Scroll down here. We'll get some photos from, here's a flower. There's Miss Jean Ann. He sent me photos of brothel tokens in Leadville. So this is interesting because these tokens actually say good for all night. Good for one screw. Not half, and not good for just half a night. It's good for all night. I guess you had to walk in and actually present these things.
Phillips are a straight head.
Legal tender and everything. Man, there's some interesting places that Clay gets to go visit sometimes. So no Clay tomorrow, but hopefully some more photos of brothel tokens.
Hey, Clay's a G, man. Clay's a gangster.
All right, you got 2 big soccer matches tonight, semifinals. Copa America, that's a 7 o'clock. They call it a kick, right? Argentina versus Canada. I know who you're picking to win this one.
0% chance. Just take
0%,
that
not
O,
even 0.1.
Take that Drake that's up there that flies south in the winter, and then take that O for Canada and just mark it in a 0.
Well, at least they have the easiest national anthem. Spain and France. 5 minutes. I know you got to get home and turn that thing on. I'm going to have to put that thing on too myself.
Griezmann's not starting for France. At Dembele, they're putting him on the wing. You've seen a couple changes in the course of accumulation of yellow cards as well, so certain people are going to miss. But Pedri's out in the midfield for Spain, but you have the other kid, Yamal, the 17-year-old just wonder kid. He's 139 pounds or 159 pounds playing with grown men. I mean, crazy.
It's like Cooper Flag stuff right there, right?
Crazy.
I just learned. I didn't realize. Thank you, B.E. This is like the most educational text he's ever sent. It says, Leadville, Colorado is where the Arkansas River starts. And now you know the rest of the story. Always wanted to say that. Great time today on Halftime. Appreciate your calls and your texts. And back with you tomorrow for another award-winning edition of your favorite midday radio program known as Halftime. For Matt Jones, for Christian Johnston, I'm Phil. Thanks for listening today. Get up, get out, and get better.